Gosh almighty, it's time, isn't it? Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello to you, and how do you do, Upstate South Carolina? I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, the pinnacle of professionalism, the face that runs the place, the content cash cow, the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate, the GM of the whole building, the great one, is at the helm today as we are set for a Thursday afternoon. My Friday, I am out tomorrow. You'll get a special edition of the hashtag Diddy Takeover. Diddy going to be filling in for me. I'm taking a day to go spend with the La Familia tomorrow. So I'll be out tomorrow. Diddy will be in for me. So today's my Friday, man, which means that we are going to be slammed up busy today. Why? I'm glad you asked, hypothetical listener. I made up for this situation. Coming up in half an hour, we're going to move Rashad Beard from our typical 1 o'clock slot on Thursday. He's going to join us at 12:35 to talk Carolina Panther football on the Panther Nation podcast. Then at 1:20 this afternoon, Diego Cuglietta, Greenville Swamp Rabbits forward, man, coming off a hat trick against the Atlanta Gladiators as they get set to get back into the well on Friday night, will join us. At 1:35, Kevin Thomas of the Moving the Chains podcast, who ordinarily joins us on Friday, joins us today since I will not be here tomorrow. And then at 2 o'clock, a very special guest. We're going to be joined by the Director of Player Personnel of Charlotte Football Club, Bobby Belair. Not related to Bianca that I'm aware of, but Bobby Belair will join us at 2 o'clock.
You got to ask, though. When I answer that, I could ask.
You're going to ask.
Yeah, I could do that.
Because the thing is,
as the significantly insignificant person that I am, I can ask, and they'll just forget that I even asked the question.
I have found, though, that when you ask a wrestling question to somebody, if they are a wrestling fan, you have just leveled up your friendship like 3 times, right? They're like, oh my gosh. Because most of us, unless I know you're a wrestling fan, I don't really work wrestling into the conversation, unless it's like a you don't watch wrestling, but you're still going to know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. You're still going to know who The Rock is.
Or unless you feel like you're superior to anyone who likes wrestling, but you still get the references. So I'm going to put them in as much as possible just to bother you.
Just to mess with you. Yeah, I when I talk with people, I don't sprinkle wrestling references in unless I know you're a wrestling fan, and then I sprinkle them into every conversation we have. Just ask Lonzo.
I could get away with this, though, because I can say, oh, are you related to Bianca? And if he says no, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And I'll just move on.
The other reaction is if you ask somebody if they're a wrestling fan and they are, you've leveled up your friendship. If you ask somebody if they're a wrestling fan and they are not, they judge the hell out of you. Like a lot.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah. Like suddenly you have just lost massive points with them for being a young friend. Texas says, do you think you are Jim Rome? I take a lot of vacation because I get a lot of vacation. Yeah, listen, I've listened to Jim Rome for years. Back on my old station in Florida, we carried Jim Rome. And I actually, for years, Lonzo, and it still happens occasionally, for years, I got told that I was a knockoff Jim Rome. Like, you sound like Jim Rome. You try to talk like Jim Rome. You try to act like Jim Rome. You read your news articles like Jim Rome. Off the record, not a Jim Rome guy. Not a fan. I don't enjoy his radio broadcast. And it's not a shot against him. I don't know the guy, but I don't enjoy his show. I never have. It is very evident to me that Jim Rome is like a surface level sports fan who has a writing crew write his takes down for him. And if there is any semblance of Jim Rome intonation in my speech pattern, it is 100% coincidental.
And by the way, I take a lot of vacation. I'm going to be on vacation next week, but no one will notice. So we're good.
I take a lot of vacation because I get a lot of vacation. Grab a Vine, clones, jump in. Let's talk sports that other people have written down for me. Welcome to the jungle.
It is the impersonation that you do. It's better than. Please don't clone this show after that show because
I have worked for years to kill off the Rob ripped off Jim Rome's style argue. I heard it all the time.
But see, it's just like when you hear a new singer or something else, people, who they sound like. You got to, I mean, it's just a natural thing that I don't think it's strictly American. I'm sure they do it everywhere. Well, who's he sound like? Oh, he sounds like, Claude or, somebody else.
Dexter said it was just a vacation joke. Yeah, no, I know. You did not know that you were touching a sensitive spot, but you did.
It's an
Yeah, yes, it really is. No, I fought that for years. I got that. When I started in radio, the guy I worked for did an SEC only show. Well, boy, howdy, everybody. Welcome on in. It's time for SST. We about to talk some college football, y'all. And that was genuinely
Was he from Pickens?
No, he's from Boone, Mississippi.
Okay, sound a lot like a Pickens accent.
No, Mississippi. Boone, Mississippi.
So there's no I in there. It's just
ain't no middle I. It's just
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Okay.
And so when I started the show, I will acknowledge, like, my first literally 3 months on air as his producer, I copied a lot of what he did, right? Because this guy had been doing radio for like 25 years. I was like, we've got to figure it out. I'm just gonna do what I should do, right? And I copied a lot of it. But he was very Southern, y'all, and he let me tell you. And I copied that because I'm like, well, he's been doing it. And then, I got the sit down from the boss who's like, dude, you got to do your own thing, right? Like if you try to be somebody else, you will always be a second-rate impression of somebody else. You got to do your own thing. And I overcompensated to the point that my first few radio segments, I just talked like this. It was just this all the time. And it came off Romish. Well, when I tried to do less of that, I ended up sounding more like the guy. I heard that for years.
See, at least you weren't like on a remote and told by the guy who was your co-host, another Jim Rome, have a take and don't suck.
Have a take,
don't suck. And you never finish anything, And so I went to management at the time. This was a decade or so ago, and said, I don't want to be on the show anymore. He said this in front of a crowd full of people, and he's like, well, he's right. Like, you know what? All right, I'm going to go be me, but you're not going to like it.
And thus the great one was born.
And that's why this is me. No. Yeah, well, that's too bad for them.
Texter says, I totally almost turned the channel because I thought you were playing the Jim Rome show. It's not on purpose. Another texter says, heading to Destin next week for a few weeks. I'll throw a $1 bill on the wall at the boathouse for you. A texter after my own heart.
By the way, I'm glad you mentioned
choice.
Monday, or was it? No, it was last week for my son's birthday. Happy birthday, Cameron, by the way. While we're sitting there, wearing a Destin t-shirt.
Love it.
Love it. Actually, it was like a Destin jersey type thing. Yeah, I'm thinking, there's one of Rob's guys right there. Should I go up and talk to him? Nah, because I'm still me. So, no.
Texter, please do. Please take photographic evidence that you have put my name. I'm not going to lie. That'll be about the 14th dollar bill on the wall with my name on it at the boathouse. But I've been going to the boathouse since I was literally a child. When I learned how to drive a boat because the old man would take me to the boathouse so that he could drink Miller Lights and I could boat him home safely. That is my haunt. Without a doubt. I have played rock and roll shows at the boathouse. I have seen rock and roll shows at the boathouse. I remember some of them.
How fast was the boat that you rode on all the time?
I mean, I was 14. It was fine.
No, was it fast? I'm talking about.
We had like a 24-foot Chaparral cruiser. I'm not helping my case that I'm not a 1%er.
I was going to say.
Back to my house on the golf course, but I was definitely not. Hey, let's do a radio show so I stop sounding like an idiot, shall we? Let's shall.
Do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch.
I went to sleep again.
Represented.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
The lunch breakdown of 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. When you gather around the lunch table today, this shall be the scuttlebutt. These are the three things you'll be talking about. We start with item number one on the lunch breakdown. Yesterday, we teased and told you that there was going to be a major announcement out of Charlotte FC, the newest MLS expansion team. I promised you an announcement. I've got three for you. The first one, Charlotte's opening date has been started. March 5th will be the first home date at the bank. Charlotte FC taking on Chicharito and the LA Galaxy. That will be the debut home match for the Queen City Boys as Charlotte FC host LA Galaxy on March 5th, 2022. There's your first. Your second announcement is that later on today, coming up at 2:00, Bobby Belair, who is the Director of Player Personnel Development for the Charlotte FC, will be joining us right here on the show. One of the first interviews that will be done in this area. Actually, I think it may be the first Charlotte FC interview done in this area. And the third announcement, and this one I find very cool, Lonzo, especially if you're a soccer fan here in the upstate, and we have a tremendous soccer community here. Charlotte FC has also announced, though, that they will be doing their off-season preseason training.
Where are they going to do it at, Rob?
Right down the road on the campus at Clemson. Charlotte will be right here in our backyard during the preseason. They have done much like the Panthers have tried to do and are going to work to try to be a football team for the entirety of the Carolinas, to represent both the Carolinas in what they do on the pitch. And so in order to embrace the upstate and the soccer community we have here, by the way, Clemson on Sunday playing for an ACC soccer championship. Because we do have such an outstanding soccer community here, Charlotte FC has announced that they will be hosting their preseason training right here in the upstate on the campus at Clemson. You will get the opportunity to go put eyes on the boys before their March 5th home opening match at the bank against LA Galaxy. Big announcement coming today. Bobby Belair, Director of Player Personnel Development, will be joining us coming up at 2:00 to talk a little bit about that. Item number two on the Rob Brown Show. Major League Baseball has handed out its postseason awards. Your MVP candidates in the American League: Vlad Guerrero of the Blue Jays, Shohei Ohtani of the Angels, and Marcus Semien of Toronto. Over in the National League, Bryce Harper of the Phillies, Juan Soto of the Nationals, and Fernando Tatis Jr. of San Diego are the finalists for the NL Most Valuable Player Award. The winner of those two awards will be announced this evening on MLB Network. But we now also have our Cy Young Award winners. Coming off a rough 2020 season, Robbie Ray of the Toronto Blue Jays was electric, boogie, woogie, woogie, leading the majors in strikeouts with 248. And the AL in ERA with a 2.84, 193 and 1/3 innings, and a whip of 1.045. He is the first Toronto pitcher since Roy Halladay back in 2003 to win the AL Cy Young Award. Over in the National League, the major league leader in ERA with a 2.43, a strikeout rate of 35.6, a strikeout to walk ratio of 6.88, an FIP of 1.63, and a barrel rate of 2.9%. Corbin Burns dominated for the Brewers this year, ended Milwaukee's 39-year Cy Young Award drought to take the NL honors, though it was a very, very narrow one when it was all said and done. Your American League Rookie of the Year followed up a tremendous 2020 postseason with a phenomenal full season of outstanding work this year. Became just the third rookie to go 2020 and led all rookies with a 274 average en route to winning the AL Rookie of the Year award. Randy Arozarena of the Tampa Bay Rays takes home the AL Rookie of the Year. Over in the National League, the Reds have their first NL Rookie of the Year since back in 1999. Jonathan India, former Florida Gator, emerged as a non-roster invitee to lead all Major League rookies in on-base percentage at 376. 34 doubles, led in walks with 71, in runs scored with 98, and in games played 150. This is a kid who walked on to the team effectively as a non-roster invitee and led in every one of those categories, ranked second in OPS. John India is your NL Rookie of the Year. Your American League Manager of the Year, Kevin Cash, has joined only Bobby Cox in repeating as Manager of the Year, secured the AL honor after leading the Rays to 100 victories and the top seed in the league. Over in the National League, led the Giants to a franchise record 2021 MLB 107 wins. Gabe Kepler netted 28 of the available first place votes to earn the NL Manager of the Year award. Gold gloves handed out. Sean Murphy, catcher for the A's. Yuli Gurriel of the Astros. Marcus Semien of the Jays. Matt Chapman of the A's. Carlos Correa of the Astros. Andrew Benintendi from the Royals. Michael Taylor of the Royals. Joey Gallo from the Yankees. And Dallas Keuchel from the White Sox earn your gold glove in the American League. The overall team gold glove given to the Houston Astros. The one platinum glove handed out went to Carlos Correa. We will see where he ends up next year. Likely a Yankee, though there is a chance the Stros bring him back. And in the National League, Jacob Stalling, catcher for the Pirates. Paul Goldschmidt of the Cardinals, Tommy Edman of the Cardinals, and Nolan Arenado of the Cardinals. How about first, second, and third base, all going to Cardinals players? Brandon Crawford of the Giants, Tyler O'Neill of the Cardinals, Harrison Bader of the Cardinals. Two Braves on the list for gold gloves. Adam Duvall in the right field slot, and Max Fried earns the Golden Glove pitcher in the National League. The overall team obviously went to the Cardinals, and it was Nolan Arenado that would win the the Platinum Gold Glove in Major League Baseball for the National League. Silver Slugger Award, I won't run through all of those. Suffice to say, Freddie Freeman on that. But speaking of the Cardinals infield, cleaning up the National League Golden Gloves, how about the Braves infield cleaning up the National League Silver Slugger Awards? Freddie Freeman at first, Ozzie Albies at second, and Austin Riley at third. Three Braves taking home Silver Slugger Awards. Add to that, Max Fried getting himself a Silver Slugger Award at the Pitcher's Hill as well. Vlad Guerrero Jr. will win your AL Hank Aaron Award. Bryce Harper would earn your NL Hank Aaron Award. And Nelson Cruz named the winner of the annual Roberto Clemente Award. So that's where you end up with your postseason awards. We'll talk more about those later on in the show. And finally, item number 3. I don't do this often, but I'm going to save it for the next segment because I am going to reach over the glass metaphorically and just tickle Lonzo's paranoia with what is item number 3 on the lunch breakdown. So when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to get to hear Lonzo freak out just a little bit, I think, but we'll find out. I'm Rob Brown. He is the great when Lonzo running the show. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Item number 3 on the lunch breakdown, which I have pushed to give its own segment because I was honestly a little taken aback when I read this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, it's happened. The National Football League has begun the process of automating their officiating. How so? I say, as Lonzo face palms a la Picardian methods. In a game against the Arizona Cardinals last year, it's been reported now by sources covering the NFL that the NFL, for the first time, inserted microchips into footballs. The microchips are in. And apparently, this has been happening since 2017.
Skynet has taken over.
No dramatic music for it this time?
My limitations are coming out, but yeah, I will. Okay, fine.
No, you don't have to now. The shock value is worn off at this point. In 2017,
The shock value never runs out with this song. It's over. We are done. Synths, man. They're synths. If you played Fallout, then you know what I'm talking about.
The in a world filled with doubt, where no one can be trusted, the National Football League. I don't even know where to go with that. Point is, the NFL put microchips in football and have been doing it for 4 seasons.
Game on.
4 years of microchips in footballs and not a single robot in the National Football League that we're aware of.
Yeah. And footballs, especially when it comes to goal line experience. I mean, you can. It's just a chip.
Chips absolutely robots make. That's like the
No.
baseline.
I can't see your neck right now.
Here's how there's a reason. Here's why Henry Bushnell of yahoosports.com wrote up the start of his article, which is available at yahoosports.com. Quote, late in the fourth quarter of a primetime showdown with the NFL's last undefeated record in peril, Aaron Jones slammed into a wall of Arizona Cardinal defenders and disappeared. Referees ran toward him, one signal touchdown. Back in a New York office and up in a stadium booth in Arizona, NFL officials questioned the call on the field. They scoured video for evidence. They watched one replay, then a second, then a third, and a fourth, and a fifth. They needed proof that Jones backsided touchdown before the ball reached the goal line. What they soon realized was that with 300 men surrounding 300-pound men surrounding Jones, a single confirmatory angle did not exist. What they also might have realized was that beneath the surface of NFL games, technology could have assisted them does exist. Went on to report that in 2017, the league began inserting a coin-sized microchip into its footballs. The chips unlocked, quote, a bottomless vault of data, end quote, and an ability to track the ball's location. Initially, they weren't used to aid referees, according to people with knowledge of the NFL's technology. That will soon be changing. Matt Swenson, the league's vice president of emerging products and technology, which is an office that you now know exists, said the tracking data now enables officials to adjust spots after punts fly out of bounds. Swenson also said the NFL is testing systems that would, quote, marry up data and video during replay reviews of touchdowns like Jones in late October, and perhaps tell officials whether a ball hidden among bodies crossed an end zone plane. Swenson said, quote, we're trying to get a complete digital record of the game, and over the past couple of years, we've built and we're testing some things around officiating. Now, he does go on to say that implementation of such a system is not imminent because, as Swenson said, quote, when you get into did the ball cross the plane for a touchdown using the technology, quote, gets a little more complicated, end quote. The league is focused on exploring how ball tracking technology could supplement replay reviews. John Pollard, vice president at Zebra Sports, the NFL's on-field tracking provider, said, quote, theoretically and technically, it's feasible to use RFID, radio frequency identification technology, to do that. RFID allows NFL officials staring at monitors in New York to read data on the flight of a football. The virtually weightless microchips inside the balls weren't initially designed to precisely locate them, but Pollard said they're capable of, quote, supporting the location of the ball or identifying where a ball goes out of bounds or potentially crosses a goal line, end quote. He went on to say that an optical tracking system like Hawkeye Cam, which is also a thing, can't do this alone because footballs are so often obscured by bodies. But the RFID system, either in concert with optical tracking or on its own, could help on plays like Jones' goal line plunge when visuals seemingly don't offer definitive evidence. The NFL and its tech partners could sync ball tracking data with replays. Officials could view the replay and then decide when a player's knee or butt or elbow touched the ground. Tracking data could then tell them at that exact moment whether the ball had broken the goal line. Dean Blandino said, quote, I think that's the way to approach it, end quote. And may I just say, yes, of course.
So you're getting excited about them talking about doing something, but they're not doing it yet because they have said they don't know how yet.
They have said they are working on implementing it. And, Lonzo, you've been in this game a long time. The first step to implement something is to work on implementing it.
And then let everyone know that it exists would be the second step, which they have just done.
They've kept it quiet since 2017, which I got to tell you is pretty damn impressive, to be honest with you, out of an organization consisting primarily of circus clowns.
Yeah, well, and also, the overthrow of the earth is underway, but it's always going to be underneath when it comes to that. As far as this goes, though, it's not a bad idea. But if you put it out there, and can that be hacked? That's the question. Can there be a guy sitting in the audience or at home going, okay, that is not my team. I'm going to make sure that is not a touchdown.
Maybe.
If it has a chip, that means it's computerized. If it's computerized, someone out there can hack it.
Sure, but I don't think you call the whole thing off because of that, right?
Well, no.
Like your cell phone can be hacked, but I see you touching it every handful of minutes when we're in the office, right?
That's because I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be hacked.
Here's the other thing. Betting lines, Vegas can come into play.
Sure.
You got someone going, okay, I bet this amount of money on this game. Oh no, they're gonna hit the over here. I've got to stop this. Let me make sure that's not a touchdown. I'm just saying.
All of these things are real possibilities and things that you deal with as they happen while you implement the technology because it's better for football. Let's take a. Could Las Vegas take advantage of you and your family? Could Roger Goodell personally come to your house, kick down your door, kick your dog, and steal money right out of your wallet? Our sources say yes.
I don't know. Is Roger physically able to kick down a door? I'm not so sure.
He's actually a big
He looks
dude.
like a big dude.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, but kicking down.
He's a big boy. Let's take a break. When we come back, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast joins us here on the show to talk a little Camolina Panthers. That's next on ESPN Upstate.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters and a game and a tie. The type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs and overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks. Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Companies. If you thought you missed your chance to refinance and save, think again. Mortgage rates have recently dropped below 3%, and Rocket Mortgage can help you save big. You could lower your monthly payment and prepare yourself for a better financial future, but you've got to act now. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Got a almost full lunar eclipse tomorrow night. That will be visible here in the Ville.
What time will it be visible?
1:30 a.m.
I was hoping
till the morning. Like it's like 6 hours.
it would be visible about 7:45 or so. Love to look out the window in the middle of doing the show and going, "Oh crap, what's that?"
Find more ways to Black Friday even earlier at Lowe's. Save $140 on our special buy GE Colorado Pine pre-lit tree, just $158 compared to $298. Plus, Christmas lights everyday low price starting at $298. Black Friday deals live online Thanksgiving Day.
Hello, how are you today?
Black Friday. Lowe's. Hometown budget.
Nothing much. We got about 30 seconds. Hang on.
Time purchase valid through 11/24 US only.
It's 1908. Don't you think we should get electricity?
And stop using candles to see at night.
It's just electricity lights up the room fast. It's more reliable than candles blowing out, and people seem to love it.
But candles are...
Dear, did you just run into the wall?
May I have a new candle, please?
Historically, switching to new technology is a no-brainer. Today, it's AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, and secure. Switch to AT&T 5G. It's not complicated. 5G requires compatible plan. May not be in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It takes two vaccines to help protect you this season, the flu and COVID-19. And now you can get both shots at the same time. Learn more at cdc.gov/vaccines.
We're not here to take part. We're here to take over. The best sports.
Let's get to it. Let's talk a little Camolina Panthers football every Thursday, ordinarily around 1 o'clock. But today, my man's busy. He's out there making money moves. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins us here on the Rob Brown Show. Shad, what up, fella? How we doing?
Robin, bro, what's good, man? All is well in Panther Nation.
Love to hear, bro. And I saw yesterday that you picked up that new fresh number 1 jersey, it looked like?
Actually, yeah, I had picked one up earlier in the week. The ones I picked up yesterday were for Dave. So yeah, man, they're sold out everywhere. So I had to go ahead and get Dave a couple since he's out of town. So yeah.
Pick some other people up, some of those ones. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I did. I put a PSA out yesterday saying, hey, I'm going by the store. You can cash at me the money and I'll pick you one up. I stay about 15 minutes from the stadium, so it's nothing for me to go down there and pick up a couple jerseys. There's some left. There's about, about 50 or 60 jerseys left. I don't anticipate them having stock by Sunday. I was told that those were leftovers from the previous years. I'm not sure why they just held on to those, but they had those left over from previous years, and they're running out. So there's a couple 2XLs left. No, nothing below large, right? Or extra large, excuse me. So no large, no medium, no small, but everything else they have. So
I want you to know, Sean, Lonzo just flexed. So, and by the way, I've told you guys listening to the show in the past that you can tell who the genuine folks in broadcasting are because they are the ones that go out of their way to try to be a part of what their listeners do. My dude Rashad went shopping for his audience, man. Like that's something else. That's something else.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get to it. The reason that those number 1 jerseys are so hot right now is because not only is Cam back, but last week came in, attempted 4 passes, completed 3 of them, 1 for a touchdown, had a couple of runs. One of them ended up in the end zone, had that hype moment where he took the helmet off and started screaming, I'm back, I'm back. First question I got for you, Rashad, is somebody who is in touch and interacts with a large Carolina Panther fan base is genuinely, what is the percentage of fans who are on board, like who are excited about Cam versus the percentage of fans who thought it was a bad idea to bring him back? I've said I thought it was about 70% excited, about 20% anti the return of Cam, and about 10% of people are kind of like ho-hum either way.
Yeah, you know what? I genuinely don't see the negativity. There's a few out there. I get a couple posts, a couple comments under my video saying, "Hey, Cam is washed up," and so I mean, me, and again, my purview is very narrow. I kind of keep the negativity out, but from what I see, it's about 90% all we're all in with Cam, man. Again, I don't think I don't see how you can't be excited for Cam Newton given where we were. And what he brought to that team on Sunday, I don't see how you can be disappointed. How can you be disappointed when this team's energy is on a complete different level? The defense is playing better. When I don't even know how they can play much better than they already playing, but they're more amped up. Offense is better. I mean, there's no Sam Darnold. There's nothing preventing us from losing or causing us to lose games. The offense is now moving the football. We're getting healthy. I don't see how you can not be excited about the situation having Cam back in Carolina. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. That being said, Rashad, what's his role this weekend, right? Like, he definitely put a spark into the Panthers last week as they rout the Cardinals. But as I pointed out, because I got to rain on everybody's parade, it's a Cardinals team without DeAndre Hopkins, Cardinals team without Chase Edmonds, Cardinals team without Kyler Murray. I mean, they're missing their number one player at all three starter spots. Still a good win for the Panthers, but I've told the Panthers fans, hey, you kind of beat the B team Cardinals here, but you did get a spark out of Cam. So what's his role for this weekend?
So, but let me push back a little bit on that because that B team Cardinals team did go out there and beat the 49ers the previous week. Am I right or wrong about that?
You are correct. Yeah, and I think Kyler's coming back this weekend, but y'all already got that dub, so it don't matter.
Yeah. So that the previous week, they weren't missing anybody, and nobody said anything until when Carolina gets them now, because their quarterback is out. They booed the B team. And also, if I don't recall, I mean, there was nobody missing on the defensive side, right? Defense was pretty healthy, if I'm assuming, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, we can talk about what the Cardinals didn't have, but they were pretty good last week, and that they also beat a team in the 49ers that did go out there and beat the Rams this week on Monday. So I mean, it's NFL. It's any given Sunday, dude. We're playing on a whole nother level right now. The energy is back in Carolina, and as far as Cam's role in offense, from what I'm hearing, they're preparing him. He's taking all the snaps to be the starter, and I'm assuming that he's going to pick up the offense, and they're going to roll him out there and give him the full load. I don't know that he's going to play 100% of the offensive snaps, but I'm interested to see it, man. I mean that the stadium is going to be rocking. I don't think they're going to ask him to do too much. I'm hopeful that the run game is going, and we can get behind Christian McCaffrey, Amir Abdullah, and Chuba Hubbard, and ask Cam to do minimal things. I don't think the game plan is going to change much, even with Cam at quarterback. I think obviously he offers some different things in the run game, but I don't think they're going to go out there and ask him to throw the football 50 times or even 20 plus times. I think it's going to be a run first. Let's get the run going, and if we have to open it up, we'll open it up from there.
Talking to Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast here on the Rob Brown Show. I've also said on the show a couple of times, Rashad, that at the end of the day, whether Cam comes back and looks like an NFL MVP or not, this team has to stay a running team, right? Like the most successful games that the Panthers have had so far are games where they're running the ball 35 plus times, where they're running between multiple running backs, whether it's McCaffrey or Hubbard or Abdullah or anybody else. This team has to keep its identity. And the concern I have is if Cam goes out there and looks athletic and moves the pocket around, that maybe Matt Rule starts to kind of tilt the playbook back towards passing, which is what happened in the L's so far. This team's got to maintain its identity as a run-first team, right?
Yeah, 100%, 1,000% agree with you. And I think we do need to maintain that run game. We are best, and the offensive line is proving that they can handle it, right? We went out there and put it on the fourth-ranked defense in the league, right? We were able to run the football. Christian McCaffrey's averaging 7.3 yards per carry in that game. So you got to give him the football, get the football to Chuba Hubbard, use all three running backs. I love Christian McCaffrey's usage last week. I think he had 23 total touches. I love that. I mean, it was perfect. The game plan was perfect. It worked. And I agree with you. We have to stay a running football team. I think that benefits Cam, And that's what we were before, right? We don't need to go out there and ask, even when Sam Darnold was the quarterback. I don't think the game plan changes much, and it shouldn't. I think it benefits everybody. It benefits Cam. It benefits the offensive line. You're not stressing them out, asking them to pass protect, and that's surely a weakness for them. So I agree, 100%. Stay on the ground. Let's try to get it 25 plus, 30 plus rushes, and let's see what we can do.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. You're taking on a Washington football team this weekend, Rashad, that just knocked off Tom Brady and his Buccaneers. No Antonio Brown for the Bucs, and I think they're like 1-3 in games that they don't have Antonio Brown. But this is also a Washington football team that's lost to some bad teams in weeks previous to knocking off Tom Brady. So what's the attitude heading into this one?
I mean, we're getting to a situation where really we control our own destiny from a playoff perspective. And I said this last week, I really don't have expectations to be a playoff team. That's not my expectation, right? I'm kind of taking things as they come from a fan perspective. But if we're going to start going there, all these games start to become critical for playoff position, right? Right now we hold the seventh seed. The playoffs were to start today. And we could still potentially win the division if we win out, right? We have to beat Tampa twice. But I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying it's in the realm of possibility if we can win the rest of these games. I think all these games start to become very critical. And we have a bye in a couple of weeks. We have Washington, we have Miami, and then we have a bye. So it'd be great to get to that bye with 2 victories. And this Washington football team, they're not a bad team. Like you said, they went out there and they beat the Tampa Bay Bucks. But I think this is a winnable game. I think the energy that will be in the crowd at Bank of America Stadium. I think it's just a bad time to come to Charlotte, given all that's surrounding Cam Newton and his return. The crowd is going to be amped. I don't think we're going to see too many Washington football team jerseys in the crowd. I think it's just going to be electric, man. I just think it's a bad time. Excuse me, a bad time to come to the Bank of America Stadium.
We're talking Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. So we've got Carolina and Washington on Lonzo and I's pick contest later on in the show. Right now, Carolina coming in against Washington as a 3.5-point favorite at home. Rashad, you gotta feel good if you're a Panthers fan that suddenly the money lines have a little minus out front of the Panthers. That's a good feeling.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but again, there's a lot surrounding it. I think there's going to be a lot. The bank is going to be on fire. Cam Newton's return is going to come back through the smoke, through the Superman pose. People are going to be having their Cam Newton hats on, the number 1 jerseys. It's going to be a lot, man. I think it's just going to be electric. I know Ron Rivera is also returned. There's a lot of intermingling between the Washington football team and the Carolina Panthers, Ron Rivera and company. A lot of guys that Ron Rivera drafted are still on the team. There's a bunch of guys that used to play for the Panthers on the Washington football team. So there's just a lot. This is a lot of little different storylines within this game. But I just think, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be too much for the Washington football team to come here and get a W. It's going to be too much.
I'm looking at the same pick. That's Rashad Beard. He joins us every Thursday, usually at 1, but we had to move him up today because my dude's out there making money moves. He'll be back with us next week, and we will find out if Carolina can put together a winning streak for the first time since earlier this season. Rashad, my dude, always good to talk to you, buddy. I appreciate what you do. Appreciate you coming on. We'll talk to you soon, pal.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
You know it. It's Rashad Beard from the Panther Nation podcast. You can follow them on Twitter at Panther Nation PC, at Panther Nation PC. Let's take a break, come back, finish up hour number 1. Coming up at 1:20 this afternoon, Diego Cuglietta is a forward for the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, coming off a hat trick against Atlanta. The Rabs are back in the well this weekend. We'll break that down for you. 1:35, Kevin Thomas, host of the Moving the Chains podcast, is going to join us here on the show to break down this week's high school football playoff action. And then at 2 o'clock, Bobby Belair, director of player personnel for Charlotte FC, joins us after a big day of news about the Queen City Club. Talk about that all coming up on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Man, there's a delay on that. It's weird.
It's a marquee Week 11 cross-conference showdown as the Dallas Cowboys hit the road to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Hi, this is Jerry Recco. Join Kevin Ray, Danny White, myself for all the action as Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes duel it out.
Can the Cowboys make a statement on the road, or will the Chiefs continue to hit their stride? It's the Cowboys and the Chiefs. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
Sunday afternoon at 4. The NFL plays here on ESPN Upstate.
Tired of living with awful joint pain? Well, if you've been to an orthopedic surgeon, you know the drill. Pain meds, steroids,
You said Cribarina? Oh, I didn't know what you said. Oh, man, they said Cribarina. Hey, man, that's
Okay. Westbrook thought they said the Crip Arena. So the guys playing in the arena, easy now. The guys playing in the arena had no idea it was changing to crypto.
Yeah.
If you watch him, he was like, he looked up Crip Arena. Like, what?
That's 864-448-3772. Non-surgical regenerative options are here. 864-448-3772. There's nothing worse than coming home from a cold day to find out that your heater isn't working. When this happens, you need an HVAC company you can trust. A company like Priority Heating and Air. Their HVAC specialist will give your system a thorough checkup. And if you need a new unit, Priority Heating and Air is
So,
by the way, Rashad won't be on next week unless you're moving days.
oh, because we're off on Thursday. That's right.
Yeah.
Off. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's in
You
Twitter.
saw this?
That's in
Okay.
Twitter trending topics. Yes.
You can leave it there.
Okay. Yes, it absolutely is because it just dropped.
This is nuts.
Yes. Someone pointed out like Harley Quinn just killed Finn from yeah.
I didn't know that I needed a Bugs Bunny.
By the way,
tag team.
Kevin Conroy is voicing Batman. Yeah. So you have the voice of Batman. It's also got Superman and Wonder Woman in it. And
like I don't know
Matthew Lillard.
characters.
Matthew Lillard is voicing Scooby Doo.
Nice.
Yeah. And
Like
well, I'm guessing he's doing.
four characters,
Well, I'm
but I
guessing he's
also
doing
did-
Shaggy too.
Yeah.
It may just be Shaggy. I didn't see Scooby Doo in there. They said Scooby Doo though. I'm guessing they're gonna. Well,
Harley.
it's trending because of Arya. Was that Kirby? Oh no, it's
No, that's the
dog from Adventure Time. Yeah, I watched some of that, and then I
Was
was
that Jerry from Tom and
yeah,
Jerry?
Tom and Jerry both are on there.
They're one character.
Working together. That's deadly.
Oh, that's Arya Stark from Game
Yeah,
of Thrones.
yeah.
Oh.
She's the one that's trending. So you could team her up with Harley Quinn, and that would be interesting. I thought I saw it's free to play too,
Really?
which has me concerned.
This is I don't know, man. This is I think they may very well have recognized like Super Smash Brothers for a while was the game. Like everybody.
Well, Nickelodeon just came out with a game too.
I do love the concept of Shaggy getting high and punching Superman in the face.
Well, empowering up. There's a mashup of Scooby Doo and Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
You should check it out when you get a chance. It's Shaggy going Super Saiyan is amazing, which is basically what he just
believe that
did.
entirely. Oh, dude, this is gonna be fun.
What system is it on? I mean,
I'm
there's
assuming my buddy that retweeted it is a huge PlayStation guy.
well, it's probably
like one of those guys that gets actively involved in the PlayStation v Xbox debate.
when if you're a radio professional, you can afford both.
I hope I am one day. I just saw Black Lantern. All right, wrap it up. Hour number one of the Rob Brown Show right here on ESPN Upstate. I am Rob. He is Lonzo, the great one. Great to be with you. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us on the Eagles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN. Look, I've seen it trending. I honestly, I don't feel like there's a need to get into it all that deep. We've all seen, or at least I'm sure it's popped across your news feed, the Zach Stacy story. Zach Stacy, of course, longtime NFL player who was caught on video camera just absolutely beating the hell out of his ex-girlfriend, and right in front of their child, who's like 5 or 6 months old. It's ugly. It is absolutely. If you have any aversion, do not watch it. It is graphic. It is disgusting. It is gross. Look, it's a sad situation, and I have seen people online that have started to defend Zach Stacy because of who he was as a football player. No. And look, there are some people who unfortunately do develop mental conditions based on football, but you cannot justify what he did, right? You cannot justify what he did. You cannot justify what happened in this video. And if you were the type of person who is going to defend someone like Zach Stacy after what he did because of his football career, because of who he was or where he played college football or whatever, don't. Okay? Don't. It's unacceptable. It's not okay. It's absolutely disgusting. Just don't. Just don't. All right, when we come back, Lonzo and I are going to make our picks in the opening segment and the last segment of the next hour, because sandwiched in the middle, we have got from your Greenville Swamp Rabbits, the Upstate's hockey team, Diego Cuglietta joining us on the show. Then in the segment after that, Kevin Thomas and John Epps of the Move the Chains podcast are going to join us to run you through the weekend in high school playoff football. 2 o'clock, Bobby Belair, Director of Player Personnel Development for Charlotte FC, is going to join us after a huge day of announcements. All of that coming up on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
All consoles and computers, cross-play and free, with in-game purchases, of course.
Yeah. As a thank you for creating a fun game.
AutomotiveMap.com presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, powered by The Score. Yesterday, we told you that Clemson receiver Justin Ross was probably done for the year. Head coach Dabo Sweeney said that indeed Ross is set for surgery on a stress fracture in his foot, and his next training is likely going to be for the NFL draft, as his Clemson career is set to come to an end. Clemson getting ready to match up against Wake Forest coming up on Saturday. Clemson basketball on the women's side of things, they end up losing to number 1 South Carolina yesterday by a 76-45 score. They're going to get back at it on Sunday when they match up against Penn State, while the South Carolina women, they next play in the Bahamas in the Battle for Atlantis. Download the Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts, so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Have you heard the Rob Brown Show? So you've eliminated a job, you've eliminated a profession.
Well, that works out good.
What's that?
All those nearly blind kids who...
It's the wrong one, but it's still talking about. No, it's still talking about Robo-Arms.
For just 5 cents a day, you too can say, an umpire who is no longer in functioning society thanks to uncaring people have eliminated.
If I were a listener and I wanted to send Rob, a gag gift for Christmas, I would send him the entire Sarah McLachlan CD collection.
I like Sarah McLachlan. You can judge me. She's a hell of a singer. Too much sad songs.
She's a very good singer, but now as soon as you hear her,
sad puppies.
Yeah. That's all you see. And it's like, okay.
When you go on a road trip, what's the music you listen to?
Well, now I listen to what I listen to in the office.
Right.
But I would just pick CDs and play entire CDs.
Courtney only listens to like legit, like sad, heartbreaking.
Yeah, I want driving music. I'm driving. I need
something. Dude, just every AC/DC album, back to back to back.
Throw me some Van Halen in it. Throw me something with a fast beat, some good guitar. Upstate Lights in the next break.
All right, let's rock and roll. The Rob Brown Show's back on your radio. Hour numero dos right here on ESPN Upstate. Let's get right into our picks because we are up against it. We are going to be busy for the next couple of hours.
I'm waiting for the bad news. So about how bad I did.
6-8, both of us.
Okay.
Both of us 6-8 this week.
All right. It sucks, but it's equal.
Yeah.
So,
6-8 both of us 6-8 this week. You smoked me in college ball. I got you in the NFL. We are, unfortunately, Lonzo, both drifting backwards towards 50% right now. 60% is the goal. 60% means you make money on the season. 50% obviously is for most people about a break even. So we need to finish above 50% or we should be embarrassed. We are striving to get to 60%. On the season right now, I am 78-62. That's good for 55 and some change percent. We'll round it up to 56 because it sounds better. Lonzo is 72-68. That is good for 51.4%. So we'll round it up to 52 because it sounds better. So hovering right at the line of slightly better than embarrassing. All right, we got to do better than 50%. So we got to pick it up this week.
So I'm right at the point of, I don't need to put any money down on anything because I'm not going to make any money down on anything. You're
breaking even right now. But look, we got a lot of season left, right? We got 2 more weeks of college football. And now I will say this. The last 2 weeks of college football are tricky, but this is where the NFL lines need to start picking up. But let's jump into it. Last week, North Carolina at Pittsburgh. Pitt was favored by 6.5. Lonzo and I both picked North Carolina. Pitt favored by 6.5. They won by 7, 30-23. We missed it by a half a point. Cincinnati was minus 23.5 at USF. I said they needed to make a statement. They did, which is not a great one. Not a great one. 45-28, your final. Lonzo and I both had Cincinnati to cover 23.5. We both lost by a couple of points on that one. UConn at Clemson. Clemson was favored by 40.5 points in this one. I thought after what we saw the last 2 weeks, Clemson will pull it together. Just barely missed it, Lonzo. 40.5. If UConn doesn't run back the opening kickoff, it's a shutout and Clemson covers. But they give up the opening kickoff TD. Rob loses. Lonzo wins, courtesy of a special teams debacle for Clemson. Michigan, 1.5 point favorites over Penn State. We both rode with the Wolverines. We both get a win there. Oklahoma, 5.5 point favorites over Baylor, but Baylor gets the outright 27-14 win, a pair of L's for the boys there. Mississippi State at Auburn, the War Eagle Tigers were 5.5 point favorites. Both of us took Auburn. Both of us lost as Mississippi State wins outright 43-34. 35 unanswered points surrendered by Auburn.
The positive about that is we said we'd never again, and I'm at least going to stick by that.
Oh, yeah.
No more Auburn.
Oh, 100%.
Sorry,
they have killed us this year. South Carolina at Mizzou was a pick'em game. Lonzo and I both rode with the Gamecocks and both rode home unhappy. 31-28, Mizzou gets the outright win there. Texas A&M was a minus 2.5 point favorite over Ole Miss. I took the fighting Lane Kiffins. Lonzo rode with A&M. That is a W for Rob and an L for Lonzo as Ole Miss outrides Texas A&M 29-19. In the NFL, Cleveland at New England, the Patriots were minus 2.5 on the money line. Lonzo and I both thought Cleveland would win this game. They didn't. They didn't by a lot. 45-7. Mac Jones and his Patriots smoke the Browns. I might be done picking the Browns for the year, too.
Is this where we're required, like the national media, to blame everything on the
Baker's
court?
fault.
So it's all Baker
Baker's
Mayfield.
fault. Atlanta at Dallas, no question there. Dallas a 9.5-point favorite. We both stayed with the Cowboys. We both get a W there. Buffalo at New York, 12.5. I tried to sucker Lonzo in to taking a sucker bet here. He wouldn't do it. Both of us picked the Bills. Both of us win. Buffalo 45, Jets 17. Tampa was at Washington. Shocker. 9.5-point favorites were the Bucks, and they lost by 10 outright. Washington 29-19. Both of us took an L on that one. Carolina at Arizona. Both of us rode with the Panthers as they were 10.5-point underdogs. They win outright by 24. 34-10 is your final. And finally, Seattle at Green Bay. The Pack, 3.5-point favorites, and Seattle gets blanked 17-0 by the Pack. A double dub for Rob and Zoe. So we move on to this week, and we start at the college ranks, Lonzo. Virginia Tech has been up and down. Miami finally started to look good, but then they lose to FSU this past weekend. 3.5-point favorites were the Canes. No text from Hurricane Jeff this week for some reason. Virginia Tech is at Miami, and the Canes, Lonzo, are 8.5-point favorites. Can Miami win by 9 or better? Or do the Hokies, missing their coach, Justin Fuente, removed from duty there, do they find a way to stay inside of 9?
You know, this is one of those things. When you lose your coach, you're either going to go do a whole lot better for one game, or a whole lot worse for one game. I'm going to go with better. I'm gonna go. I think they're gonna play better.
You're taking Virginia Tech.
I am taking Virginia Tech.
I am gonna take Miami here. All right. First time I think all season I've bet on the Canes. First all season I've bet on Miami. They have got to respond. Manny Diaz has got to respond this week. He's already getting that. I'm not gonna say Manny Diaz is on the hot seat, but that pressure went from 1 to 2 by losing to FSU at home, at Tallahassee, a place where Jacksonville State.
Were he and Fuente hired around the same time?
Yeah, I think so.
Because it seems to be that they were on the list.
I think for this is Diaz's 4th year in Miami, but he's got to get it done this weekend. He cannot lose.
Is he squirming on that seat? Is a little bit warm.
Yeah, but 8.5 points is a lot. I'm still going to ride with the Canes. I think they win by 10. Michigan State is at Lonzo's. What did I call him yesterday? Zohio State. That was it. I know I could do it. Zohio State. 18.5-point favorites over Sparty, Lonzo. I'm going to let you go first on this one.
All right. This is one of those things where I could be realistic and go, yeah.
18.5.
We got that. Yeah, we got that. As if I'm on the team and I can say we got that. But Michigan State, as highly ranked as they are for Ohio State, it keeps them up there where they need to be. If they can win by a touchdown, they're going to win by 3 touchdowns. It's not one of those kneel down type things at the end. They're going to put the points up. So yeah.
Mel Tucker just got a fat raise. He was mentioned amongst the prospects at places like USC and LSU. He just got a fat raise from Michigan State to stay.
Not bad for a guy who's probably going to be in 3rd place for most years. Yeah.
Somebody made. In fact, by the way, somebody referenced that Mel Tucker actually had like a slightly below 500 record until he hit one great transfer portal class. That's translated results on the field. Lonzo, if this was 8.5, I'd take the Buckeyes. I can't do 18.5. That's too many points against a top 7 team. I'll take Sparty. Ohio State wins outright, but Sparty's inside of 18.5. Florida at Mizzou. Why are you talking about this game, Rob? It's at Mizzou, Lonzo. But Florida's favored by 8.5 points in this one. 8.5 for those Gators that struggled last week against Samford, not Stanford, Samford, which is a little Bible school out of Alabama. Samford went into Gainesville and gave the Gators a big-time scare. 8.5-point favorites at a Mizzou team that just knocked off South Carolina, who beat the Gators a week before that. I'm going to go first in this one, and I'm going to surprise you, Lonzo. Gators cover in this one. Look, they're a bad team. We know they're a bad team. They're a sub-500 team, but there are some spots that this team is still bright. Mizzou is not a good team. The loss is more disappointing for South Carolina than it is impressive by Mizzou. Florida covers this.
I'm going to follow the narrative that's been put down by our staff of writers that I detest anything that's going on with the show that comes on after us and the person that roots for a certain team. I'm going to follow those lines to a T and say, yeah, there's no way Florida gets this.
Mizzou to cover up 9 or better, says Lonzo. Texas is at West Virginia, and I'm letting Lonzo pick first for a reason I will explain after his pick.
You gonna give me the line?
Oh yeah, that's right. You would need that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
West Virginia at home, 2.5-point favorites over the Longhorns.
I'm going Texas.
Good.
I'm not going to try to hook them because I'm probably closer to Sign of the Devil, and I don't want you to get excited.
Give me the ears by 90. Listen, I said last week I wouldn't do it again. I am 8-2 picking West Virginia this year. 8-2 picking the Mountaineers, to the point that I wasn't going to put this line on here, but West Virginia's made money for me this year. But
there's no way. There's not enough games left, so each week you can say I'm going one more.
8-2. The 2 and 8-2 were the 2 weeks that Lonzo sided with me and picked the ears. Every week Lonzo has picked against the Mountaineers. I have won with them. That's why I let you go for it. Because if you picked West Virginia, I was picking Texas. But you picked against West Virginia, and you have been the good/bad luck charm for the ears. Give me West Virginia to win by 3 or better at the house. Oregon is at Utah. Why is this one interesting, Lonzo? Because the Utes are favored by 2.5 points over Oregon.
Wow.
I'll go first in this one. I am intrigued by this. We had a texter yesterday. Guarantee us that the Ducks would lose to the Utes this weekend. Those are like Utah Utes, not like young people, as said like by my cousin Benny. The Utes, Yana, the Utes. Give me the Ducks on the road. They can't lose to Utah when they're in a playoff spot, right? They can't do it. Give me the Ducks.
You got me thinking about Mona Lisa and Aunt May for some reason. I don't know.
What a smoke show in that movie, too. Marissa Tomei.
See, I'm sitting here trying to think what's more advantageous for Ohio State. Obviously, the Oregon win, but the Oregon loss takes them out and moves Ohio State up to number 3. Unless the committee goes, well, you know, it was a good loss.
Don't you want to be in 2 or 3 so you don't get Georgia or Bama in the first round?
My philosophy on that is you got to play 2 games no matter what.
But if you play Georgia or Bama, there's a better than average chance you're going to get Georgia or Bama again in the championship. And those are 2 very physical games, far more physical than playing Oregon again. I think you much rather want to play Oregon in round 1 as a 2-3 and let Georgia and Bama duke it out and then take on the more physical team, but only have to do it once.
None of that really matters. This is about this game.
Oregon or Utah?
I'm going Oregon.
Oregon on the road to cover up a 2.5-point hole. Interesting. Georgia Tech is at Notre Dame. Notre Dame, a 17.5-point favorite at the house over the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech. You're up, Zoe.
Notre Dame does not cover.
Notre Dame, Georgia, the Ramblin' Wreck, says Lonzo. I think they do. I think that they realize that they've got to put on an absolute light show to be able to justify jumping a Cincinnati team that beat them straight up. They know the committee will do that for them. Ahem, Michigan State, Michigan, but they got to put on a show, and I think they start against Georgia Tech. Hey, speak of the Devils, would you? Auburn is at South Carolina this weekend, Lonzo, and the War Eagle Tigers are 7.5-point favorites at Willie B on Saturday. We both said we weren't picking Auburn, but USC just lost to Mizzou.
There's no but here for me. When it comes down to, if you look at that game, should they have won? Yeah. Could they have won? Absolutely. Did they come back and get within 3? Yes, they did. That means I don't believe this would be a beat down by any, maybe in other years, maybe like a Cam Newton led year or something, but he's not there, hasn't been there in a long time. And I said I would never pick them again this season. So I'm going with South Carolina.
SC fans, you know I love y'all. I went to your game a week and a half ago. I said it was the best college football experience I've had in many years. And I meant it.
We need this.
Auburn's going to win this game by like 14. Give me the Tigers. I'm doing it. Even though I just said I wouldn't, I'm doing it. Wake Forest is at Clemson. The Clemson Tigers, though, at the house against a one-loss Wake Forest team. 4.5-point favorites.
Clemson is a favorite, 4.5.
4.5-point favorite. They got to win by 5 or better, and I'll go first on this one. They absolutely do. They absolutely do. I respect Wake Forest. I respect the season they've put together, but Wake Forest looked good because the rest of the ACC is really, really bad. Clemson is starting to find itself. 44 points last week will put you in a good mood, even if it was against a bad UConn team. Clemson covers up 4.5.
All right, I say Clemson does not cover. And my goal for this season is to be exactly 50%. Not sure if I can do it, but I'm close.
So Lonzo taking Wake to be inside of 4.5. Interesting. And finally, last college game, we'll do our NFL picks in the last segment. Arkansas's at Alabama. Another weird game to have on the list, considering it's kind of way out of the realm of this area of geography. Bama's a 22.5-point favorite over an Arkansas team that was inside the top 15 earlier this season, Lonzo. Alabama at home is giving 22.5.
Roll Tide.
I thought I might be able to sucker you in there. I did not. I'll take Bama as well. Let's take a break. When we come back, Diego Cuglietta of your Greenville Swamp Rabbits, the Upstate's hockey team, joins us here on the show to talk a little hockey on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. The Upstate Holiday Light Show is almost ready. They're setting up the lights as we speak, and it starts on Thanksgiving night. Open from Thanksgiving all the way through New Year's Eve, 7 days a week. Opens up at 6 p.m. And listen, what an experience, man. It is the largest interactive holiday light show in the Upstate. Thousands of families every year show up to drive their car around the Greenville Pickens Speedway to see millions of multicolored lights light up the sky, sync to your favorite Christmas music as you drive through and around. You can take your time, park on the racetrack, watch the lights dance to the music, but they've got other stuff too. They've got a drive-through petting zoo. You can get out and see the animals. You can feed the animals right from your car. They've got concession stands. It is a holiday experience that you will never forget. Go to greenvillepickens.com and search the link for Upstate Holiday Light Show. You can get a fast pass, which means you don't have to wait in the line. You drive right up through the gate, you head on in, and you check out the most elaborate Christmas celebration in the Upstate. It's the 2021 Upstate Holiday Light Show. Let's see if he should be calling us.
It's a busy night of college basketball for Clemson. They are going to match up against Temple this evening in the opening round game of the Shriners at Children's at Charleston Classic. South Carolina basketball, they are playing host to UAB this evening. South Carolina 2-1. UAB comes in with a 3-0 record. The South Carolina Upstate men's basketball team, they are on the road this evening as they are set to match up against ETSU. South Carolina Upstate sitting with a record of 1-2. And Coastal Carolina playing their second game of the season tonight. They play on the road against North Carolina Wilmington. Download the Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts, so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
High school football fans, I'm Cole Bryson. Get the scores, discussion, interviews, and more on the Saturday Morning Scramble powered by Founders Federal Credit Union.
Diego should be calling in any second. Ow.
Scramble. ESPN Upstate everywhere on the Odyssey app. Powered by Ingles Market, official grocery store of the Saturday Morning Scramble.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview. Coming up, the Atlanta Falcons host the New England Patriots. Slow starts to the year, both are still hoping to play their way into the postseason. The Patriots are now on a 4-game winning streak, coming off a 45-7 blowout over the Browns. Thanks to their practice and preparation habits.
Here, we do a good job every week of preparing. And when we practice well, we play well, and when we don't practice well, usually we don't play it well. So it's pretty much
Wow.
We just have to keep doing
When we practice well, we play well. When we don't practice well, we don't play well. Such a Belichickian answer. Rob Brown Show. Hey, we've got about a minute and a half left in this break, and then Rob will be right with you. So hang on. Yep. No one's ever happy to be told to hang on. You know, it's not my fault. It's Rob's fault.
For the ones who are always in the know.
Just because Rob's significant and I'm something else.
Granger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. Experienced staff at local branches and free access.
We do need to look into finding some themes for some of these interviews.
I have started making a hockey one. I got to finish it. I was hoping to have it finished today, but obviously did not.
Okay.
And then if we're gonna have the Triumph, I don't know how long they're gonna keep going after the season ends. If they're gonna keep going with us, like
doesn't mean we can't get it ready for next year.
Say, but we will definitely have it ready for when next season starts up.
Our nacho, taco, and fajita kits will silence even the pickiest of eaters. Plus, there's no dish duty.
If you're doing it, can you just put a goal underneath, just slightly loud enough to hear nothing but goal, like through the entire intro for the through the entire. Yeah, you got to do it in a way where it just seeps through underneath the music here, and you know.
You don't even have to say as much as you said so far, buddy. If you're asking me to,
we can pan it all the way to the left too, or something.
Mildly obnoxious about soccer to put on the radio. It's like you don't even know me.
I like doing that thing where people go, "Did I hear?" No, that wasn't. Yeah.
The only rule that I have as far as making stuff is no sirens, no police sirens, ambulance sirens, something like that.
Well, that's frowned upon anyway. So
I still hear commercials like that all the time. It infuriates me every time.
Says the guy who's speeding down the highway, and here's the siren goes, "Oh crap!" By the way, the police are still out in force on 385. Oh, I saw a bunch today too. And I've been taking it easy because I don't have a vehicle that says, "Hey, look at me" or anything like that.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob Lonzo and you. To the phone lines we go to welcome in a young man who I think may currently hold the crown for the newest resident of the Upstate. I will also tell you that he holds the crown for right now the hottest hockey dude in the game, coming off a hat trick against the Atlanta Gladiators on the road. He is a forward for your Greenville Swamp Rabbits out of the ECHL. Diego Cuglietta joins us here on the show, making his Rob Brown Show debut. Diego, welcome in, man. Great to have you. Appreciate the time, big dog.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, bud. Of course. First and foremost, man, talk to us a little about the upstate. I mean, you got signed not but a handful of weeks ago. You get here, you jump in, you get serious ice time right out the gate, and in just a couple of weeks, you're putting hat tricks down, you're putting assists down. What's it been like to kind of transition into the area and into the Swamp Rabbits under Coach Lord?
Yeah, for sure. It was a quick turnaround, obviously. I mean, it's my third year pro, and this is my second time in my career I've been traded. But coming into Greenville, I thought that Lordo did a great job kind of engaging me into the team, and I think the team itself is a great family dynamic. So I think it's been a great time so far.
We're talking with Diego Cuglietta. He's a forward for the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. So you have spent some time in Indy, some time in Utah, some time in Idaho. As far as being in different places, some places that have a deep hockey background, Greenville being in the South, I think hockey is continuing to grow and develop around the South. But you've got some places like Jacksonville, like Greenville, like Pensacola that have got these teams that have amassed a following. What's been your experience with the fans, with the upstate hockey culture in the handful of weeks you've been here so far?
Yeah, just for being here a short time, I think it's been an unbelievable experience. We had the Harry Potter night on Saturday, and we got to engage with some of the fans, and I thought that was a great atmosphere. I think in general, hockey's really starting to grow in the South, and I think teams like Greenville and Jacksonville, they've done a great job in trying to bring fans and trying to acclimate people into the kind of a new kind of game here. So I think it's been a great job by the organization.
Love it. Diego Cuglietta from the Greenville Swamp Rabbits joins us here on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. And, Diego, I would ask how you're kind of fitting in, how you're finding chemistry with the new team. But based on the stat lines through your first handful of games, it looks like the answer to that is really, really good. You had a phenomenal weekend last weekend. You get the hat trick against Atlanta, just the second hat trick scored in Atlanta, the first by Brett Kemp, your own teammate. Talk to me a little bit about what it's been like for you to jump into the Swamp Rabbits culture, to build chemistry with the guys that have been here for a little while.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think we have a great group of guys here, and I think we got a lot of talented players. Obviously, coming from Indy, I thought we had a good group there as well. But I think that it's been a great time, and I feel like I've been acclimated quite well, and I feel that the Swamp Rabbits kind of fit my style of game, playing with a lot of pace and playing with a lot of skill. So I think it's been great so far.
Love it. Diego Cuglietta joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate, coming up a hat trick against the Atlanta Gladiators. Just a couple of days. Get set to come back to the well for a 2-game stand this weekend. You guys spent a significant amount of time in the first 3-4 weeks of the season on the road, Diego. You had the away game against Atlanta, but sandwiched between 2 homestands. There are some folks that are a little disappointed in the way the season started. I know it was a tough go, but again, a lot of road miles put under the bus for those handful of games. To have back-to-back weekends at the well in front of the home crowd, to be on home ice that you're comfortable, that you guys, and I know probably the team more so than you, but you've got some time to get comfortable on the ice there at the well. How important is it to you guys as a hockey team to be able to get back home, get back to the well, and have a handful of games there to kind of find yourself a little bit?
I think it's huge. Honestly, playing at home in front of your own fans is one of the things. I think being a hockey player, it's one of the funnest things being a hockey player. And I think that, like I said, just being here the last few games, I think we have a great fan base that gets really excited, and they really support us. So I feel that it's going to be a great atmosphere these next couple of games, and we're looking forward to it.
Love it. Diego Cuglietta joining us here on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. Talk to me about, so from the perspective of somebody who, comes onto the team, the team's been playing a couple of weeks already. Lordo kind of has his lineup set and his shift set already. And then here comes this guy, Diego Cuglietta, that's absolutely adding things on the ice, adding goals, adding assists, adding a little chemistry. Talk to me about the last couple of weeks as far as kind of finding that balance and finding your way, finding your spot into this lineup and working with Lordo to figure out what your fit is with this team, when you jump onto the team a couple of weeks after the season started.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, it's my third year pro. I know what kind of hockey player I am, and I don't try to vary from it. I try to play with a lot of speed and some skill. So, I mean, I think I had a good conversation with Lordo, and I just tried to play the game the best I could. And like I said, I think we have a great group of guys here that have a lot of ability and skill, and it's quite easy to play with them, to be honest with you. So it's been a lot of fun.
Love it. Diego Cuglietta joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. We referenced it just a few minutes ago, that kind of hockey culture. One thing that, Diego, that I've learned, and I'm sure you've had this experience as I've traveled between cities and broadcasted around all levels of hockey from NHL, ECHL, SPHL, etc., is that every team in a city kind of has, they almost kind of develop a cult following of hockey fans, right? Like those folks that are at every game, that it's a different level of fandom. Again, I know it's only been a few weeks, but what has your interaction been like? What's the observations you've made about Greenville's hockey culture, maybe compared to some of the other stops you've made?
Yeah, I think it's very passionate. Obviously, like I said, that Harry Potter night, it was very cool to see all the fans dress up and seeing kind of the festivities beforehand. And I think just that shows how much that people are engaged in the Swamp Rabbits and want to see us do well. So I think it's been a lot of fun. I think we got a great fan base that I believe they really are excited and they want to see us go into the right direction. And that's all you can ask for as a hockey player.
Diego Cuglietta joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. Last one, Diego. We'll let you get back to it because I know you guys are getting prepped for a big game tomorrow. Space Jam night at the Well tomorrow, celebrating the release of that great Michael Jordan movie. From a hockey perspective, it's always kind of interesting to me, Diego, as an athlete. We've heard so many professional athletes say, hey, you're out there, you're in the zone, you're just kind of focused on what's happening on the ice. But when you have a good fan attendance, when you have a very, very handsome guy on the public address system like you did for last weekend's game, how much of a difference can the atmosphere created by fans in the arena make for a guy like you that's got so much forward momentum on the ice?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Like I said, I mean, us as hockey players, we feed off our fans, whether it's a hit, a goal, a block shot. I think just being on home ice and hearing that extra cheers from the crowd is very huge. And to have such a good fan base in the Swamp Rabbits organization, I think that's huge. And I think that's going to help us win, hopefully, these next couple of games here.
Love it. Diego Cuglietta is a forward for your Greenville Swamp Rabbits. They are at home, back in the Well tomorrow night for Space Jam night. You're going to want to be there for that. Diego, man, welcome to the Upstate. It is tremendous to have you. Congratulations on the hat trick a few days ago. I got to tell you, I don't mind if you want to go out and grab another one this weekend. We fully encourage that decision, big guy.
All right. Thank you very much.
You got it. That's Diego Cuglietta from your reigning Greenville Swamp Rabbits. You got to love it. Little upstate hockey here on the show. Let's take a break. When we come back, mid-audible, Lonzo and I will make our NFL picks coming up and break down those games in the next segment. Then we'll be joined by Kevin Thomas and John Epson moving the chain in the final segment. Then at 2 o'clock, we'll talk to Bobby Belair. He is the Director of Player Personnel Development for the Charlotte FC. Huge 7 announcements from Charlotte today. We'll break those down at 2 o'clock. And then the third hour of the show, I have no idea what's going to happen. It's my Friday. It might get weird. The third hour, not this hour, but the next one.
Yeah, but some of the things you're
segments of weird. You'll see. Stick around.
2 minutes Fight Club.
That's what it was. I knew I was getting something. It's on the sheet. 220's Fight Club on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
All I gotta say is I ain't doing it next week. You've upset me so much.
If you're coming on to do Fight Club that day.
No, you won't.
No, I won't. No, I won't, because it's Thanksgiving. God, one day, you know when I'm going to remember that? When I get up Thursday and get ready for work.
Probably.
Guarantee it. Guarantee it.
business phone, and even TV, all free for 1 month, plus free installation. Call 855-757-4544 or visit spectrum.com/business today. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's ESPN Upstate's Mark Ryan. Join me at Ingles Markets this and every Thursday from 3 to 7 with a special live edition of Offsides with Mark Ryan. This Thursday, we'll be at 1500 Gear Highway Travelers Rest. Brought to you by Ingles Markets on ESPN Upstate.
Have you tried learning a new language, but it never seems to stick? That's because there's more to language than learning vocab words. Babbel is different. Babbel's multiple ways to learn helps you explore every aspect of a new language, anytime, right from your phone or computer. Practice real-life conversations in the Babbel app.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Get personalized help from an instructor in Babbel's live online classes.
Classes are limited to 6 people. We keep them small so everyone can get the help they need.
Review words and phrases with fun games, or dive into the culture with short videos. Everything from the interactive lessons and live online classes to the podcasts and videos will teach you things you'll actually use, so you're ready for real-life conversations. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com to start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count, like the reliability, durability, and power of Die Hard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes
This thing is so delayed. I haven't seen it delayed like this in a long time.
The air to programming signal?
The StreamYard.
Oh.
Has me concerned.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's a solid 15, 20 seconds behind.
Learn more at cdc.gov/vaccines.
So your wipers are streaking? Might be time for a new set. We've got a great deal to help you get the job done and be ready for the weather. Right now, you get a $15 AutoZone gift card by mail or email when you buy 2 Bosch Vision wiper blades. And we've got even more ways to shop. Just order online with our free same-day.
That's all we get, huh?
So on the flash last night, the Royal Flush Gang were still in cryptocurrency. They stole a chip, and then they stole a hack. They freed a hacker from Iron Heights to help them steal a bunch of cryptocurrency. So that's the world we live in now. They kept going, this doesn't fit their MO. Well, what are they doing? Then they figured out they were stealing crypto.
They've released a teaser for Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk, and they give you nothing except Smart Hulk in the She-Hulk, but we already knew that was coming.
ESPN Upstate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at our NFL picks from the weekend. If you missed it early, Lonzo and I both went 6-8 last week. I'm 78-62 on the season at 55 and some change percent. Lonzo 72 and 68 at 51 and some change percent. We've given you our college picks. Miami an 8.5-point favorite over Virginia Tech. I've got the Canes. Lonzo taking the Hokies. Michigan State at Ohio State. Ohio State an 18.5-point favorite. I've got Sparty. Lonzo's riding with Ohio State University. Zohio State.
Yeah, because Ohio, that's a weird. You don't want to go there.
Florida 8.5-point favorite at Mizzou. I'm rolling with the Gators. Lonzo taking Mizzou. Texas at West Virginia. Texas a 2.5-point dog, and I've got West Virginia to cover up 2.5. Lonzo riding with the Longhorns in that one. Wake Forest at Clemson. Clemson a 4.5-point favorite, and I'm taking the Tigers to cover it up. Lonzo says Wake Forest is inside of 4.5. Oregon's at Utah, and Utah's the favorite in this one. 2.5-point favorites. We both got the Ducks. Georgia Tech at Notre Dame. Notre Dame is 17.5-point favorite. This is probably my risky one, but I'm taking Notre Dame to cover it up. Lonzo says Georgia Tech's inside of 17.5. Auburn, 7.5-point favorites at South Carolina. Lonzo's got the Gamecocks. I am taking the War Eagle Tigers. Arkansas at Alabama. Bama's a 22.5-point favorite, and we are both taking the Tide to cover it up. over the Hogs. Let's switch to the National Football League. Just a few games this week in the NFL. Baltimore is at Chicago. Lonzo Lamar and his boys, after coming off an L to the Dolphins. Yeah, those Dolphins last week is a 4.5.
And here the Dolphins have a complex defense.
Shh. Snowflake. That's a Ace Ventura Pet Detective reference. Baltimore 4.5-point favorites at Chicago. I'll lead this one off, Lonzo. They are not having back-to-back bad games. The Baltimore Ravens have skated by in some wins that have probably looked better than they actually were for the Birds. But Chicago's still finding their identity a little bit, and Lamar's not having back-to-back bad games. Give me the Ravens to cover up 4.5.
So it's 4.5. I was going to ask you for the line again. Man, this is hard for me because I think that complex defense from Miami may have and Chicago has a pretty good defense, and if they can copy what Miami did, maybe they shut him down. And this part of the season usually is when Lamar starts to disappear some and then find his way back near the end. I'm going to go with Chicago here. It has nothing to do with who the starting quarterback is.
No, of course not. Of course not. Green Bay's at Minnesota. I feel, I'm going to double check this line because I feel like it can't be right. We had Joe Giglio on the air on Tuesday from BetQL. And Joe, when I asked him about his picks for the weekend, Joe Giglio said, I am going to give you an upset pick that I really like here. I'm going to give you an upset pick that I think people need to keep an eye on and throw some money at. And he said, how about the Vikings knocking off Green Bay outright? He said, I think this is a game that Green Bay can fall. Green Bay on the road at Minnesota, Lonzo, is a 1.5-point favorite. Joe Giglio nailed that pick. That's why we have him on.
1.5.
1.5. Minnesota's got to win by, or got to be inside of 1.5. Green Bay's got to win by 2 or better.
Yeah, I'm going with Green Bay on this.
Yeah, I am too. I like Joe. I respect Joe. And I got to tell you, I went back and forth a number of times thinking maybe I'll take Minnesota and I'll ride with Joe Giglio on this one. I will apologize to him on Tuesday if I'm wrong, but I can't do it. I can't do it.
Aaron Rodgers is good for at least 3 on his own.
Yeah.
What about Kirk Cousins?
Yeah. But Kirk Cousins does not play well in primetime, but he's got a hefty winning record at 1:00 games, and this is a 1:00 game. So maybe we'll see. Miami at the New York Football Jets, and the Fins with Tua one step closer to healthy, Lonzo. The Dolphins are 3.5-point favorites in this one.
I'm cracking on the advanced defense of Miami because it's been all over ESPN for the last couple of days, including Greeny just going nuts over who they're switching as far as their starting quarterback. And their starting quarterback is it's a guy named Joe. I gotta go Miami here. I'm definitely not. There's no way.
Is Joe Flacco elite? Time to restart that conversation. Give me the Dolphins as well in this one.
Somewhere
it's going to happen. One of two things is going to happen. He's going to get benched in the third quarter, or he's going to throw for 5 touchdowns. One or the other, right? There's no in between. You're getting benched in the third, and Mike bleeping White is coming back in, or Flacco's going to throw for 5 touchdowns and 400 yards. One or the other. Dallas is at Kansas City. Your Chiefs, Lonzo, 2.5-point favorites.
That's a little shocking, isn't it? That's kind of a shocking line. For some reason, the way Kansas City had been playing, a couple of weeks ago,
Dallas would be favored.
I would have thought Dallas would be favored. So I'm shocked by the line.
But enough to take the Cowboys.
No. I think we know that I'm going to go with my heart on some of this, and I probably lose some games that I shouldn't. The Kansas City we saw last week, is that the Kansas City we see this week?
Or is it the Kansas City from the last 7 weeks?
Well, they're leading the division. It isn't like they weren't winning, some of those games. So, and it's Dallas who we saw a couple of weeks ago when they
dumped 45 on Atlanta last week.
How'd they do against Denver?
Not great.
Yeah. So there's
Became the first NFL team to have their game turned off by a network.
Yeah. So because of that, because it's hard to figure out which team's going to be there, and both of them are really good. I would say Dallas is probably the better team in a lot of people's eyes, at least record-wise. Got to go with the Chiefs, though.
I am going to pick in this game, Lonzo. I'm either going to pick Dallas or Kansas City.
That's a good choice there. One of those.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce he caught the ball last week.
He did.
He
ran really well after
catches
catch.
the ball this week.
He was, I believe the term was a yak daddy last week.
Wow.
I know. It's weird. I'm going to ride with Dallas. They've been more consistent for longer. Give me the Cowboys. And finally, Washington is at Carolina, and the Panthers get the minus sign in this one. So Carolina, 3.5-point favorites. I'll start us off. Give me the Camolina Panthers. The spark is there. I don't know how long the spark lasts for, but the spark is there, and Cam is absolutely starting. Panthers at home cover up 3.5.
Are you shocked that Cam is starting?
No, because I literally wrote up a thing the other day that said if Cam doesn't start, it's a legit dereliction of duty.
I want to see if he played the entire game. I'm glad. I'm definitely going with Carolina though.
You're shocked to pick the win, but you're taking them and giving away 3.5 points.
Yes.
Okay. Good enough for me. So I've got Carolina in that one. So does Lonzo. Let's take a break. When we come back, John Epps, Kevin Thomas from the Moving the Chains podcast. Run us quickly through your playoff games for tomorrow evening in prep football around the state. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Harley-Davidson of Greenville wants to make you part of the Harley-Davidson family. And listen, I told you yesterday about some of the benefits that you are going to get out of riding with Harley, right? I've told you about the fact that they have trained certified mechanics that work exclusively on Harley-Davidson bikes. So when you pick up a Harley, you know that the folks that are doing the work on it know exactly what they're doing. I've told you about the fact that they have all the gear. They have everything you need to ride safely and ride comfortably, and they can help you find the bike of your dreams to customize it exactly to what you want to be riding on. One of the things that I love that they do is they don't just organize different rides throughout the year, and they do. They're doing a Christmas toy drive ride. They do a 4th of July ride. They do rides exclusively for lady riders. But if you want to know where to ride, when to ride, how to ride, you can go there and just sit and talk with the folks at Harley-Davidson of Greenville, and they will literally pull out a map and walk you through it. Here's where you go if you want to see this. If you're a history guy, here's your ride. If you want to see the leaves, here's the ride. If you want to take in the Midlands of South Carolina, here's the ride. They care to the point that they will help you design the ride that you want to go on the bike that you want to go on, so that you are getting the most out of the Harley-Davidson experience. That's how much they care. They're not just in it to sell you a bike. They are in it to make sure that you fall in love with riding that bike around some of the most beautiful riding in the upstate. Go to 30 Chrome Drive. That's the dealership at 30 Chrome Drive, or check them out online at upstateharley.com. Upstateharley.com. It's Harley-Davidson of Greenville.
All right, my confusion there at the end is I was trying to figure out how we're going to make that work, and it just.
We did it last week.
Okay.
100% did it last week.
All right. So I picked the Panthers to win, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure that okay.
Yeah.
I believe my multitasker might be broke.
Tis the season for what? For the Upstate Holiday Light Show. Where's that? At Greenville Pickens Speedway. Millions of incredible lights, a kids' light zone, 600-foot light tunnel, even a drive-through petting zoo. Do we need tickets? Sure, but fast passes are available. Plus, it gets the hubby into the holiday spirit, so we're not doing that last minute thing. Where do I score?
So when I said that about a Cam, I meant the Panthers. I didn't mean.
It came out fine.
No, it didn't. Like, oh well, that was stupid. Oh well. Good thing I'm no one of significance. I might get a talking to about that.
Visit getvaccineanswers.org for more. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Shop on eBay this holiday.
According to comicbook.com, Pizza Dog is the real star of the new Hawkeye series. They're making a big deal about Pizza Dog. I don't know anything about Hawkeye enough to know who Pizza Dog is, other than It's a dog. And I'm guessing
It's a golden retriever specifically.
Yes, I'm looking at a picture of him with the Santa hat on. I'm guessing he likes pizza. If he can make pizza magically appear and that's a superpower, that would be awesome.
Trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub. It's like seriously magic. And my secret was cleaning the kitchen, bathroom, doors and walls, and even keeping my sneakers clean. Mr. Clean
That's my
Matter,
nemesis.
greatest invention
Before
ever.
Mr. Clean Manager Razor, the unicorn of cleaning. If your family depends on your income and something happened to you, what would happen to them? You need life insurance. And SelectQuote can help you get it at a price you can afford.
SelectQuote found Jacob 40, who's in excellent health, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $90 a month.
Not in perfect health.
Rob's an angry typer. Have you ever been around someone who just types really angry and heavy-handed, and you just and you just think, okay, is he typing that way because he's mad? And it's a reprimand of some sort going towards somebody.
That's 1-800-507-2266. Or go to selectquote.com. That's 1-800-507.
To whom it may concern.
Kame, hame, ha.
Careful, don't blow up the equipment. I made this break a little bit longer, or this segment a little bit longer. So
Vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. There's no rest. And then there's the best. You're listening to the best sports talk show in the state, according to the South Carolina Broadcasters.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's ESPN Upstate. Let's go to the phone lines now because we got a couple of minutes to talk with the two young men who run the Moving the Chains podcast, which you can find on Google, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever your local podcasts are found. Kevin Thomas and John Epps joining us here on the show. Kmart, what's happening, fella?
My man, appreciate you having us on today, Rob.
Of course, as always. And Johnny Boy, how's life, my man?
Doing great. Glad we can be here.
Yeah, buddy. All right, we got about 5.5 minutes to run through this, boys. So, not going to spend a lot of time on last week. I want to jump straight into the games you've got this week. We got about a minute for each one of them. Kevin, I will lead off with you, Gaffney and Northwestern. And what I love is that when you send me the show notes every week, you just simply wrote for this one, old school matchup, which means I absolutely want a ticket.
Man, these are two powerhouse teams, and they have been for years here. Gaffney traveling down to District 3 Stadium is going to be a tough task for them. You know the game. You know the names on Gaffney, like Tyler Smith and Grayson Loftus and Jadarius Littlejohn, Ken Littlejohn, Landon Bullock, so forth. Northwestern can match them with Will Madison, Turbo Richard, the Caldwell kid, Jakari Bryson, and whatnot. It's going to be a big-time slugfest. I like Gaffney. I think they have a little bit more physicality on defense, a little bit bigger on defense. I like the Indians to win a close ball game on the road here Friday night.
John, let's look at South Point at Greenwood. South Point coming off a big 27-point win over Lawrence, but Greenwood had a 42-30 win over Catawba Ridge in the last one, and V. Morton 42 for 239 and 4 touchdowns in that one. Man, there might be some points on the board. Take the over, baby.
I tell you what, you've got some high-powered offense for South Point going through the air in this game, and then you got Greenwood. They want to do it all on the ground. I had South Point on upset alert last week. Lawrence was a really good team, and South Point said, hey, you know what? That's all good and great, but we're a lot better than you. They roll into the third round, and I think this could be a awesome game for the Upstate. But I'm going to take the Stallions from South Point in a slight edge in this one Friday night.
Love it. Clinton at Daniel. Kevin, 370 total yards and 3 touchdowns last night for the young man under center. But Clinton put up 48 as well. Another game that I'm hammering the over on.
Yeah, both teams are very similar as far as points scored and points allowed throughout the season. Going to be a super fun matchup. You know, Trent Pearman, Mr. Football finalist, can throw it, can run it. They are missing their running back, Chris Edge. That'll be a tough loss for them. Clinton, I think, goes on the road and pulls the upset with their kind of flex bone shotgun offense there. I like the Red Devils pulling an upset in 3A Friday night.
All right, let's take a look at another one. Ridgeview at Spartanburg, John, and maybe two teams that are in the best rhythm of any two teams in the area.
Yeah, I tell you what, Mark Hodge has gotten that Spartanburg Vikings program really pointing in the right direction now. They have played really well in the back half of the season. I think their marquee win came last week against a very talented Spring Valley Vikings team. But they host, or they will actually, they'll host the Ridgeview Blazers, who upset Hillcrest last week in very exciting fashion. 47-41 wins for the Blazers. Two teams playing excellent football right now. I tell you what, I just really, really like what Mark Hodge does with his program. I like the Vikings in a very, very close game here, but I said that last week in the Ridgeview game, so hopefully I'm not wrong 2 weeks in a row.
All right, Kevin, last one you guys have on your games of the week for round 3, Abbeville at Gray Collegiate, and you wrote down that this might be very well the biggest game in the state.
I mean, this is probably the 2A state championship game happening here in round 3. These are, we think, the head and shoulders best teams in that classification, the game that we're going to be at. Abbeville won a high school game over Saluda last week. They've got a lot of talent with Rayford and Harrison, the Lomax, and those guys. Defending 2A state champs. I believe they've won 7 out of the last 10. So a powerhouse program in 2A. Gray Collegiate continues to roll. KZ Adams may be the best player in the state. 247 and 4 touchdowns last week. Played every snap on defense as well. They've got 2 quarterbacks with Robinson State who can play. But the defense is the key. We talked to head coach Adam Holmes, interviewed him this week, and he came out last night. He told us they've had this game circled since last year. This is a big game for Gray, big game for Abbeville. I think the War Eagles get over the hump and beat Abbeville Friday night.
We've also got Chester at Powdersville, Irmo at Greenville, Newberry at Christchurch, Southside Christian at Calhoun County, boys. Sorry, we had a short segment here. Glad to have you guys on. We will do it next week to head to round 4. Appreciate you, fellas.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate the time.
You got it. That's Kevin Thomas and John Epps from the Moving the Chains podcast. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Moving Chains. Same with Twitter and Instagram. No G in that, just Moving Chains. And on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you can find the podcasted version. If you are a South Carolina prep football fan, you have got to follow Kevin and John for the best prep football coverage in the upstate. When we come back, Bobby Belair is the Director of Player Personnel Development for Charlotte FC. A huge announcement coming out of that MLS program earlier today. We will break that down next on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Demonstrative. Hey, Bobby, this is Alonzo, ESPN Upstate. Rob Brown set up an interview with you. I'm doing good. How are you today? All right, we got about a minute left in this break, and then Rob will be right with you.
There was no bang bang because there wasn't no bang in the bang bang. There was just one bang, which was the tag. Bang bang is when runner's foot hits base at very close to the exact same moment that ball hits glove or ball touches tag and gets out. That's
All right,
bang, bang.
BELAIR. No E on there?
Correct.
Okay. Just making sure.
BELAIR.
Well, that's not how Bianca spells her name.
Does she have an E on the end of it?
I think she has an E on it. I could be wrong. No, I'm wrong. She doesn't have an E on it. It's also not really her name, probably, but still, I mean, you know. So, how many radio people, when they were allowed to change their name on our company thing, changed their name to something that they shouldn't have changed their name to? Some people down the hall, I guarantee you, at least 100%. One of them, yeah.
That would be the prank, is to go in when they're broadcasting live and change their display names while they're live, like go in as a moderator and change it and not tell them. I know. The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and all around the world on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Download that, put it on your digital devices. Don't miss a minute of broadcasting. So we told you earlier today that there were a couple of very, very big announcements coming out of your Carolina-based MLS team, Charlotte FC. Those announcements have been made, and joining us now on the phone line, we are very pleased to be joined by Charlotte FC Director of Player Personnel, Mr. Bobby Belair, who joins us to talk a little Charlotte FC football. Bobby, welcome to the show, man. It's great to have you on. We appreciate the time, boss.
Thanks, Rob. I really appreciate you having me on, man. Big fan of the show.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that greatly. And we had you on, Bobby, because earlier this morning, Charlotte FC, and in connection with Clemson, made a couple of very, very big announcements. And I want to start with the second one first. The first, obviously, is that the home date for the debut at Bank of America Stadium is set. Charlotte FC will take on the LA Galaxy on March 5th, and we're going to circle back to that. But Bobby, you guys made a huge announcement, and this impacts those of us here in the Upstate alongside Clemson today. Talk to us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Rob. Well, obviously, it's dear to my heart, too, as a Clemson alum and a big supporter of Clemson athletics overall. But, yeah, so our plan is to start preseason off at Clemson. They just built a new training facility there specifically for the men's and women's programs there. And, obviously they both have been doing very well in their own regard in college soccer. And so we want to, develop a partnership with them. And the first 10 days is going to be so critical for our club to come together. They have a magical facility and also a great hotel right nearby, the Madron Center. I'm sure you're familiar with it, Rob. So that's where we're going to spend our first 10 days. We're working on the logistics and everything, but we felt it was appropriate to announce that today, along with the big announcement of our first inaugural home match.
Bobby, one of the things, and we've talked about this on the show with the Greenville Triumph and their championship at the USL League One level last year. This Saturday, they're playing to try to go back to back as USL League One champions. With Clemson soccer, with South Carolina soccer, with the real development of the Upstate as what I think as a soccer fan is one of the better soccer cultures across the South. Having Charlotte FC do their offseason training at Clemson and working in a partnership in that way, I think it's fantastic for Charlotte in that they are going to put themselves in front of the Upstate community. But I think it's great for the soccer culture in this area as well. What a tremendous partnership for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head. And honestly, whether you're, a Clemson fan or you support another team, if you support the Greenville Triumph, you could still be a Charlotte FC fan, right? Because we're the only MLS team in the market. And I think that this Upstate market, to your point, has been devoid of having really a true connection to an MLS club. So now we're here. We're welcoming you with open arms. We want to push you to be there on our home match, March 5th and break the league record of having 74,000 plus fans in Bank of America Stadium. It's going to be a can't miss opportunity for everyone that's a soccer fan, across the Carolinas, but definitely in the upstate.
Let me ask you, from y'all's perspective, and I know you've already kind of hit on the answer with the facilities, but with Bank of America, with the resources of Charlotte and being in such a big city, especially a big city where most of your fans are going to be centered, from the perspective of the club, why the upstate? Why did you guys decide to partner with Clemson and hold your offseason training down here?
Yeah, well, like you said, there's a rich tradition of passion. You have CISA there, that's the major youth club. Clemson University, obviously, you have Furman University as well. And so I think that there's been a lot of passionate soccer fans in this area that have been growing and growing throughout the years, and especially since I've been growing up in the Myrtle Beach on the coast area. But it just makes sense. We're 2 hours down the road from Clemson, and preseason is one of those things where you have to get out of your home city and start developing the culture of the club, the camaraderie between the players, and really the way that the players can start to learn how the coaches want to work and how the coaches want to play. So that's important. And so you need good facilities. You need to get out of your home city. So all those things combined, I think it makes it an easy decision.
We are talking with Bobby Belair. He is the Charlotte FC Director of Player Personnel, making his debut here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. I wanted to get your thoughts on really the whole market you guys have postured yourself, and I think in a very positive way, similar to, for obvious reasons, what the Panthers have done, in that it's really a football club for all of the Carolinas. But there's a stretch, I think, between Charlotte and the upstate where there's a lot in common in the soccer community. And I think this for both Charlotte FC and for fans here in the upstate that are going to really get some day-to-day hands-on, eyeballs on experience with Charlotte FC, this is a really good opportunity for fans to get bought in from the beginning. Back in 95, we watched the Panthers as an expansion team kind of find their way. And when you talk about MLS, which has been around for decades, and a lot of MLS fans, they already have a team, right? And even if they're not from where, they've got their teams for different reasons. To get a foothold in a community like this one is important, but it's also a big deal for fans in the area to be able to say, I was a part of that team. I was there. I watched this team develop and gain their identity going into the season. How big is that for you guys from both angles?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's massive. And look, I think as a new supporter of a brand new expansion club, what's exciting too for fans is they will have a part in how the game day atmosphere will be. They'll have a part in how the supporter culture is. They'll have a part in bringing all that ruckus and passion to the stadium that will help our team and push our team forward and help us win matches, sort of like the 12th man. So I think that's the exciting point and like you said, there hasn't been an affinity to any other MLS club for anyone really in South Carolina or North Carolina. No team has tried to reach out and capture that audience. And so here we are, our name is Charlotte FC, but we're a team of the Carolinas. We're doing it through the grassroots, through our academy system, through our youth soccer. We're partnering with youth clubs throughout North and South Carolina. And we're trying to show everyone that we're here and we want you all to be a part of us. And we want to build this thing together.
I love it. Mr. Bobby Belair is the Director of Player Personnel for Charlotte FC, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. As somebody who, I've been a soccer fan really since the early years of college. I have, I love this sport. It's a sport that I want people to get involved in. And I think you just hit on it. It's so important in the culture. And whether you're a USL League One fan or an MLS fan, or if you're like me and you're decked out on red, white, and blue for U.S. men's national team, soccer is a sport that people grow up through. And it starts at the young level. It goes up through the academy age into the professional level, etc. But developing a solid foundation is important really for club and country, Bobby. What are the steps you guys are taking to not just get kids in Charlotte, but around the Carolinas to buy in and to be a part of this, both to grow the club and to grow talent around the area as a whole?
Yeah, definitely. So we want to be a club that shares in our coaching methodologies, our teaching practices. And so we partnered with many clubs across North and South Carolina, and we'll go out and be present in more markets moving forward. For us, we start at the U12 age group, U12 and U13. We help to develop some players, and they come in and train just 2 times a week, and then they go back to their clubs and play matches. And then we start with our academy programs at the U14. We have a U15 program, and then we have a U17 program. And so the goal is to give all these players that are very talented, and we know that there's a rich history of talent within North and South Carolina. Many players have come through the ranks, and we want to be the club that can really promote their development. And really, I think what we're going to be most proud of is when we can push players and have these young homegrown players in our first team playing in Bank of America Stadium for Charlotte FC one day. I think that's the goal. And, at the same time, we can be a good force, a unifying force for all these clubs in how we develop players and how we coach and how we train. So that's what we want to do and impact, across all different age groups.
All right, let's switch it up. Let's talk football for just a few minutes with Bobby Belair, the Director of Player Personnel for Charlotte FC. You guys also announced earlier today the first home match is officially set. It's going to be March 5th at 8 p.m. against LA Galaxy. And, of course, Galaxy, a team that's been in MLS for many years. They've got their own storied history with David Beckham being there years ago, which I think Beckham going to Galaxy kind of created a resurgence in soccer popularity around the country. This is a legacy team that will be helping Charlotte FC open Bank of America Stadium in its first dedicated soccer match. What an incredible start to Charlotte FC at Bank of America to get Galaxy in there for the first match. And what a big night that's going to be on March 5th of next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think getting a club like that to come in and really kickstart, our inaugural home match is going to be huge. They have Chicharito, Javier Hernandez, who is, the all-time leading goal scorer for Mexico. They have many other good players, like you mentioned. David Beckham really revitalized the MLS. And so they're a historic club, and that's what we want to build towards, right? We want to build a globally recognized brand in Charlotte FC. And so we couldn't think of a better way than to kick it off and try to kick the crap out of LA Galaxy.
Bobby, talk to me kind of where the team stands, because I think one thing that can't be overlooked here is that while you guys have had about a year and a half, you've got another 6 months before we get to opening. I think we're 100 days away. I think today 100 days on the head away.
100 days.
Yeah, 100 days away from that first match at Bank of America. I got a match to open the season the week before that. But you guys really are, while established and with good staff in front office, are also still building this team, are also still building the roster and building the administration and all that, which kind of presents a unique challenge for you guys, especially with a team like LA Galaxy coming in to start. Can you give folks that are, kind of have jumped in with Charlotte FC since the beginning of the franchise, those that are kind of feeling it out, et cetera, as to the status of the club getting ready for the opening of the season on February 26th?
Absolutely. So currently we have 8 players signed. We feel we'll get up to about 25 to 28 players. And so we have some big milestones that are coming up. Currently we're working hard to build, and we're scouting around the entire world. So we're looking everywhere. But what we want to do is build a young and hungry team and have some balance across every position. We have some big announcements that will be coming up soon regarding player signings. And then December is going to be a massive period for us. So to let some of the newer fans know, we have what's called an expansion draft, where we're allowed to pick 5 players off of other MLS teams' rosters to help us build our inaugural roster. There's going to be a plethora of signings throughout December, and then we'll also have the college super draft, which will have the number 1 overall pick, 3 picks in total, and we'll have the first pick in each round. So those are some really exciting times coming up in terms of the roster build. And then obviously it's all got to come together quickly, get the guys into market, and kick off preseason.
Love it. Bobby Belair is the Director of Player Personnel for Charlotte FC. Last question or two before we let you get back to it, Bobby, because I know you guys got a busy day today. Talk to me about the plan to develop Charlotte as the Carolinas football team, right? Like we saw what the Panthers did back in the late 90s. And as a matter of fact, right behind us on the wall here in the studio, we've got one of my favorite banners. The Panthers made a banner years ago that says 2 states, 1 team, and they've got the logo of the Panthers sitting atop the outline of both North and South Carolina. I know that was a huge objective for the Panthers when they started. I know it was a big objective for you guys. How important is it, and what steps are you playing to make sure that really all of the Carolinas know that even though it is Charlotte FC, that this team, this club is for everyone who calls North and South Carolina home?
Yeah, well, I think the one of the biggest things that I could say is how we're developing our broadcast throughout the region, and we'll have some more announcements specific, to each location in each region throughout North and South Carolina. But essentially, we'll have all of our local broadcasts will be free and accessed by anyone across North and South Carolina, which I think has never been done before, and it's huge. Giving free access to all of our home and away matches that aren't on national broadcast. I mean, that's insane. So everyone will be able to watch us, which I think, first things first, you have to be present and you have to be able to be seen by every different, region or city or town that's in North and South Carolina in order for us to be Carolina's team, right? We've also hired a chief fan officer, Sean McIntosh, and he's been doing a fantastic job in speaking and being open about what our plans are to all of our fans. We have a community captains where you can be a leader within your community to advocate for Charlotte FC and promote the game and be a bridge between, Charlotte and whatever region that you're in. So we're doing a lot of different things, and we'll continue to do this, and we'll continue to be open and speak about what our goals are and connect with whatever region you're in.
Bobby Belair, Director of Player Personnel for Charlotte FC. We just got a question, and it's kind of off the cuff, Bobby, and you may or may not have an answer prepared for it, but I think it's an interesting one from one of the fans at the Greenville Triumph here. Wanted to know if there is going to be any sort of partnership or relationship that you guys will establish with lower level teams, but including obviously our reigning, defending, undisputed Greenville Triumph, the USL League One champs. How do you guys, what kind of relationships we develop potentially with the Triumph, but really with soccer clubs that are already established around the Carolinas?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question. And while nothing has been formalized, officially yet with the Greenville Triumph, I think we would be silly to not have those discussions, right? I mean, John Hartz has built a fantastic club. He's done a great job. I mean, look, we wish those guys all the best in the final on Saturday. Getting to 3 finals, in 3 years in their expansion is just insane. So kudos to those guys. And I'm sure that the Triumph fans, maybe a little bit spoiled in being that successful right off the start. And we hope to do the same thing, right? But they've been doing a great job. And like we said, we've partnered with all the youth clubs. We're working to develop relationships with those. So we would be silly to not do the same with lower division professional teams like the Charleston Battery, Greenville Triumph, and the Charlotte Independence as well. So great question. Love it. Love to hear it. My man knows the Triumph. He knows the area. One of the liaisons and ambassadors you'll be hearing from on the Rob Brown Show many times. Bobby, you guys obviously have a friend of the program and the club here on the Rob Brown Show. You guys are welcome anytime. And I got to tell you, man, go ahead, book me, put me down. I will be at the bank on March 5th, and I cannot wait, big dog. Love that, Rob. Really appreciate you having us on. Happy to do it. Thank you very much for the time. That is Bobby Belair. He is the Director of Player Personnel for the Charlotte Football Club. Charlotte FC, again, going to be holding their off-season training right up the road from us here at Clemson, all off-season long. And then we'll open the season at home on March 5th, 8 p.m. Your boy will be in attendance. I'm sure there will be a number of residents of the upstate there as well. Quick break. Fight Club is next. Your home for all things combat sports here on ESPN Upstate.
Let me turn the stream off because this is a listener
It
question.
was already off.
I mean, back
Oh,
on.
you turn it back on. Okay.
So, genuine question. We got a text that says, I can't say I'll support a team that holds camp at Clemson. Sorry, should have picked somewhere better. When you talk pro sports, do you hold college grudges into pro sports?
To a degree. Watch it. There are so deep-seated that they can't get past that. And I've said many times, and you've asked me many questions that's caused me to do this, and it pains me every time to say,
Grudge unless they play for your team.
I think so, yeah. But in
let's say Kansas City, they won't. But let's say theoretically Kansas City announced, the Chiefs announced that they were going to do next season's spring training at Michigan in Ann Arbor. What would be your reaction to that?
how stupid are they to go to Ann Arbor for
in camp when it's nice outside? They decide to go to Ann Arbor because it's isolated and they got full facilities.
that would not bother me because I am not that guy, but I know there are people who are. I've been to Clemson before. I've been to Clemson for other activities. I've been there for 1 year. They had a state championship there and for high school football. And we went there and watched it there. So much better in Columbia, by the way, but we went there and we watched it there. And I didn't say, well, I'm but there are people.
Genuinely do not care where you played college football once you get in the league, right? Like, I hate you based on the NFL team you play for, maybe. But like Alex Anzalone, who was a Gator, was a phenomenal linebacker for the Saints for a while. And I was a big fan of Thor, And I had one buddy who's an FSU fan and a Saints fan who was like, I can't cheer for him because he's a Gator. And I'm like, right, but he's on your team now, right? Doesn't that override it? I couldn't say I'm anti-Charlotte because of where they train for 6 weeks. That's silly to me.
Now, if you're someone who roots for your team but roots for that player from your college to do poorly on your team, but your team still win, I get that. If you hope that they fall and trip every play, I completely get that, as long as you're still rooting for the team to win. If you root against your team because they have a player from the college you don't like, I think that's too much. But again, it's fandom. So fandom cannot really be defined. Some people think they can define it, but you can't, because fandom it's individual.
Tomorrow's partial lunar eclipse will last for 3 hours, 28 minutes on the anniversary of Atlanta blowing the 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. I don't think that's correct, but I like it anyway.
Don't let facts get in the way of fun.
Correct.
I wish I could have heard Max interviewing Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, because
wonder how Max feels, because Max is a boxing guy. I wonder how he feels about wrestling.
I do
this
wonder.
Was like ESPN mandated.
I do wonder about that. Welcome into the in just a moment. But first, let's talk some AEW. And I'm going to guess because and I'm usually right on this stuff that Rob didn't watch last night. But so I'm going to spoil a little bit on a couple of things, but I have to because they're important and we need to discuss them here in this segment. Starting out, all right, congratulations to Hangman Adam Page for winning the belt. We talked about this earlier in the week.
Cowboy boat.
All right, there's Kenny Omega is he's going to have shoulder surgery, it looks like, and so he's going to be out for a while. So they did a promo yesterday where Adam Cole, Omega was telling him that they're going to have to step it up and hold down the fort while he's gone, while he tries to figure some things out. He didn't say about surgery, but we know in real life he's going to have surgery. And Adam Cole stepped up and said, "Yes, we absolutely will." And he's like, "Well, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to..." So here we go. Adam Cole, is he going to destroy the Elite or is he going to take it over? And then he brought Bobby Fish.
Yeah.
So we talked about this, we speculated, and there's also speculation that the third member's contract is up here pretty soon and could show up in AEW, depending on how long his non-compete is. Is this something that's going to happen? Is Adam Cole going to cause a rift in the Elite? Is he going to take over the Elite? Because let's face it, who is the face of the Elite right now? The Young Bucks can't be it. They just can't.
Why?
They just can't.
Why?
Because you need Don Callis could, Omega could. You need one guy to be the focal point.
So I got two thoughts. First off, that type of mentality is why tag team wrestling went from arguably maybe at one point in the distant past more popular than singles wrestling, but also is the reason that so many great tag teams who have genuinely good chemistry can't get ahead, because no, you just can't. I don't accept that. I absolutely think you can. And I think the Young Bucks can be that tag team, one of those tag teams that brings back the prominence of tag team wrestling. I absolutely think you can have two faces as one team.
By the way, I'm not talking about the company, because there are several faces of this company. I'm talking about the face of the Elite, just the Elite.
I think not only do I think you can, but I think they now are, right? Like, I think they are, with Omega having to go on the shelf for a little while. And by the way,
watch the promo, and you're gonna see that that's what he's going to. When it's time, he's going to do what I just did and interrupt, and he's going to jump out in front and try to take all the mic time.
Right, but isn't that part of the fun? Like, let's do what we do every week and immediately fantasy book a great setup. Cool. They do that. And then the Young Bucks either handicap 2-on-3 against the what were they called in NXT? I just blanked completely.
Undisputed Era.
The Undisputed Era. Or they go get a third and, they get their own Adam Cole baby and they beat Undisputed Era to retain, but it gives you the opportunity to turn to make Undisputed Era a heel faction and turn, while Omega's gone, turn the Young Bucks back face for a little while. I think you can have them remain. And by the way, listen, I never had exposure to the Elite until AEW, right? They've been around for years in different iterations, but I never experienced with them until the Undisputed. But the Elite has been Omega, the Young Bucks, the Good Brothers, and a couple other guys. Brandon Cutler, who is the glue that holds the whole thing together, obviously. Why can't they have their turn at the top of that faction while Omega's on the shelf, the best wrestler in the world, arguably, with, by the way, more than, yes, it's shoulder surgery he's got to get, but he is apparently dealing with a lot of
there's
stuff.
other stuff. Just the shoulder surgery is the first thing they're going to address.
Tremendous bad guy, but can Kenny Omega get the respect he deserves for carrying that storyline with that many injuries to a good conclusion? The Young Bucks coming out and giving Hangman the nod to finish off Omega. What a hell of a moment, right?
Yeah, but that's also a moment that will be addressed again later.
Oh, I'm sure it will.
So, yeah, and it's good.
Sometimes have a moment that doesn't have the immediate payoff in favor of long-term booking. And I think, again, I know this always kind of devolves into an AEW versus WWE thing, but it's genuinely because I want WWE to be better. Not AEW, but be better. You can have long-term storylines that don't require the same match to be wrestled on 6 consecutive days before a pay-per-view.
Agreed. All right. So the couple more things for AEW. Bryan Danielson last night comes out to supposedly shake hands with Adam Page, and that's his next opponent. And Bryan Danielson, he turned heel last night.
I love that he got booed for mentioning WrestleMania.
Yes.
I did see that.
Yes.
He got booed, and I don't know if you've picked up on this, though. I did not till somebody pointed it out on me. If you go back and you look at the last 4 weeks, every match that Bryan Danielson has wrestled has been against somebody that was from the town that the show was in that night, and he's winning. He is literally going town to town, beating up the guys that are from that town in front of their home audience. You are getting a slow Bryan Danielson heel turn to go up against the Millennial Cowboy doing Cowboy Boat, and I love it. When you have a story or a turn that happens right in front of your nose and you don't see it until the pop.
The camera did catch him dropping some F-bombs while standing on the ring during the segment.
Oh, dude, this is,
and they got to be careful with that because they're gonna get in trouble for that.
This is the part where you and I have agreed on everything so far, but we split away. This is not your kids' wrestling show.
You're right. And if you take your kid to one of these shows and you chant the cowboy stuff, and then punish kids for cursing any other time. Jay Lethal was there last night.
Yes, he was.
And Jay Lethal is a very controversial figure over accusations that were made of some things that he did. If true, he's not a good guy. My question, does this pave the way for Ric Flair to come to AEW?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know right now. Jay Lethal, I know, has signed some sort of contract with AEW. I don't know what it is.
He threw up the tweet. Jay Lethal is
elite?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what the contract is. I don't know what the deal is. I honestly, because I didn't really know Jay Lethal before they announced 2 weeks ago that he was going to fight Sammy for the TNT title. I didn't know. They're pretty awful allegations overall. Said and did some pretty awful stuff. If so, I will tell you genuinely, I am very, very disappointed in AEW making that decision. This is going to fall into one of those morally ambiguous gray areas where you go, okay, does a guy not have the right to work while there are allegations but no convictions, no charges, no whatever? Or should you just immediately distance yourself from anybody who is accused of anything. It's a morally gray area, and it's one that everybody makes their own decisions on. That being said, the allegations against Jay Lethal are pretty pointed, right? They're not like ambiguous allegations. They're pretty pointed down to and including receipts, text messages of things that he texted and said that are horrendous. If so, that is pretty damn disappointing out of a company that I thought has done a very good job of holding people accountable for their behavior outside of the company.
Well, they did allow him to stay there after the tweets at Sasha Banks. I mean, there's been some things, but
sure.
But will this pave the way for Ric Flair, and if so, Charlotte afterwards? Especially with all the controversy that's going on with Charlotte. Speaking of which, let's get to Survivor Series really quick. Raw Tag Team. This is the time of year where champs go up against champs. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't storylines.
Gonna Michael Cole it. The one night a year where superstars face off against each other for brand superiority.
All right, you
brother.
Okay, I was gonna say that was not. Why would you want to? Anyway, no, he does a great job. I love him with McAfee. All right, versus the Usos.
Bro.
All right, who you got? RK Bro versus the Usos.
Oh God. Give me.
It's hard, isn't it?
Give me the Usos, if only so Vince can put all the gold back next to Roman one more time.
Well, the belts aren't on the line. They're both.
They're
both.
I honestly haven't watched.
It's Survivor.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Dude, I honestly have not watched WWE in like 4 weeks. Give me the Usos.
All right. Champion Becky Lynch versus SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. A lot of stuff going on behind the scenes and in front of the camera between these two, including Ric Flair chiming in. We don't know if it's a work or not. This is an interesting match. Charlotte usually has the upper hand in this. And because she's the favorite and she always gets picked according to everybody, I'm going to go with my friend Charlotte Flair for this.
Golly, gosh almighty. I would ordinarily say Becky, but again, I think the version of Becky we've gotten since her return, the fans aren't in on, and we all know that Charlotte is Charlotte for a reason, so I'll say Charlotte.
All right. Big E versus Roman Reigns. I'm looking forward to this. Because it's probably going to be the main event, and it's probably not going to turn out the way it's not going to have a victor more than likely. But if it were to have a victor, there's no way they let Big E win. But I'm going to say Big E wins by disqualification. That's the only way he can win this.
No, Roman hasn't been disqualified yet. Not in a pay-per-view. They're not going to DQ Roman because DQing Roman doesn't give you the reaction of Roman's better than everybody. Deal with it. Roman wins. It'll be dirty. The Usos will be involved because they always are. But Roman
but the New Day might be involved also. So
it's a good point. They will have a justified excuse for being there.
Because as Big E said, you hurt my family last week. Give your daddy a message. Talking to the Usos. Versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Damien. Shinsuke has been arguably the most wasted wrestler of the past 15 years in WWE.
All right, really quickly, let's get to the 5-on-5s. All right, for the men, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, and Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, Xavier Woods, Happy Corbin, and an unknown final member. Let's go out and say the unknown final member, although he's been fine.
They win if it's not Team Finn wins.
Okay. All right. And finally, the women's Survivor Series match, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina versus Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi Blackheart, Natalya, and an unknown final member.
It's Brock Lesnar.
It's Brock Lesnar also. I'm gonna go with Liv Morgan's.
So am I.
Okay.
So
All
no,
right.
this is one of those spots where they can let Liv have a moment, but it doesn't actually matter.
Although
they love that.
Although she's kind of getting the push right now, and what happened
For 4 years.
whenever she gets a push, it's all over. Nothing ever happens, but who knows? Maybe this time.
Yeah, okay. I will believe that when it actually happens. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. I got a genuine question for you. By the way, Texter says Adam Cole Bebe is going to take over the Elite and then backstab them. I don't think he even takes over. I think it's just Undisputed Era, right? Unless the Undisputed Era becomes the Elite and the Young Bucks go back to just being the Young Bucks. And we'll see. All right, quick question for you guys when we come back, and then Twitter to wrap it up on the Rob Brown Show. It's my Friday, so hang out with me. It's ESPN Upstate.
I know the phone is ringing, but I'm not sure we have time. So let me check.
Yeah, we can try.
Well, that's a different person calling. So. Rob Brown Show, what do you want to talk about? It's at an Ingles. I'm sorry. I'm so busy with everything else. I don't know which Ingles it is.
Hang on, let me see if I can.
Rob's trying to see if he can figure it out. Yeah. If we find out, we'll announce it on the air.
Yeah.
My bad. Sorry about that. All right. Bye. I've heard the commercials, but when you hear commercials over and over again, you don't hear them anymore.
Yeah.
So.
I just booked my first photography gig.
Cool. Wedding, graduation.
No, I'm actually shooting products for a leather goods company. Like they make leather.
How corporate of you. Way to
go. Lonzo, I don't care what the name on the top of the check is, so long as the name on the bottom of the check is there. You know what I mean?
Not me, man. You know, I don't care about money. That's what happens when you're insignificant. You don't care about money. You're just happy to be here. You know, man, I know you're busy and everything, but you know what we're going to talk about. You could, at least, kind of watch. I'm just playing around.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Talk about wrestling.
Oh. I was like, what are we talking about?
And that is why. What?
It's just my confused face, which is basically my normal face.
No, I get it. You're already off work. I completely get that. That's what.
No.
Yeah. That's what it's going to be for me tomorrow. What? I'm already on vacation, even though I'm not on vacation.
Turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, gravy, corn, and cranberry drizzle on a pizza crust.
I'm for it.
I'm in, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's all the people that's like, that's gross, and I'm like, that's.
I follow the Shaggy and Scooby line of thinking that you can put anything on a pizza. So.
White pizza, because white pizza's gross.
Whatever, man. White pizza is good.
White pizza's gross.
I don't want it all the time, but as a change of pace, I'm good with it. So if you're hungry, you have nothing in the house, but someone offers you a free white pizza, you're not eating it.
No, I do not like white pizza.
What if your favorite toppings are on it?
My favorite toppings on a pizza are pepperoni, sausage, and mushroom. If I'm gonna have white pizza, I'll just make pasta. I'll just make Alfredo.
Just want to point out, I didn't say it was my favorite, but I will eat it.
This Black Friday, get the original Peloton bike at our best holiday price ever, $1,495. Or access membership 7. Terms apply. See website for details.
Opinions wanted. Opinions are like all the same. Everybody has
All right, very quick segment here because we got Twitter coming up next. But we got a text earlier. We were talking with Bobby Belair, Director of Player Personnel for the Charlotte FC. And they announced this morning that they're going to be doing their off-season training coming up this off-season. They're going to be doing their off-season training at Clemson. And we got a text in that said, can't say I'll support a team that holds camp at Clemson. Sorry, should have picked somewhere better. First and foremost, what do you mean by better? You just mean somewhere I liked better? Because as soccer facilities go, there's not really many places that are better than Clemson in the area, right? There's just not. They've put money into the facilities there. So when you say better, what do you mean? Because Clemson has bought into the soccer culture, and they've got a good facility set up there for it. There is no better short of staying in Charlotte and working at a BOA. And I'll be honest with you, I doubt they even, and this is not a shot, it's a first-year club that hasn't even started playing yet. I doubt they have better right this second than Clemson does. I guess where I'm going with this is, where does the line get drawn as far as where you drop the collegiate rivalry and move past it? Or is that line drawn? Like, I talked to a dude a couple weeks ago one day, Lonzo, who said that a South Carolina fan said, I wish I was, Courtney got this text, Facebook post, that's what it was, that said, I will not use a shopping buggy at the grocery store if it has an orange handle on it.
Yeah, I avoid those too.
Seriously?
I'm a fan of Dragon Ball Z when a lot of the gis are orange. But these are just little funny things to me. If I had to use an orange cart, I would. But is this unhealthy hate? I mean, yes! Is it unhealthy to the, but what is the end game? I mean, so he doesn't use the orange cart. I'm not gonna adhere to the normal, the local way of saying things. It's a cart. It's a shopping cart. It's not a buggy. A buggy is a dune buggy. I see those on occasion when it's warm outside, but those are not buggies. They're carts. I mean, this is something that's taught from generation to generation, especially I've seen it around here, the hatred of between one school and the other. And let's face it, it's a lot easier to avoid orange than it is to avoid red.
No, I get it. But I'm saying, like, doesn't there, and maybe I'm the bad college fan here, but doesn't there come a point where that's silly? You won't use a shopping cart because the handle is orange. So instead, you're going to tote around all these groceries instead of using a shopping cart because the handle's orange.
You can't do that.
No.
Fanaticism.
Look at me. I'm a fan. I can't stand an Atlanta Falcon. Their color's red. But if I go in the grocery store and I got to get groceries and the handle of the buggy is red, I'm not going to go,
listen, Rob,
screw a Falcon. I'll just be miserable.
Rob, we know in the back of your mind, here's how you justify. Well, that's Carolina red. That's Ohio State red. That's Kansas City red.
No, I don't justify it. That thought never crosses my mind.
But orange, though, it's just so ugly. I mean, when you see orange, you just like, you feel irpy. I mean, so I completely get that.
I genuinely don't. Like, so you've got an MLS team just up the road from you that just went out of their way to come on the show to talk to us about wanting to grow the fan base here, and you're like, no, I can't be a fan of that team because they're going to be on Clemson's campus for 4 weeks? That's ridiculous.
If you are team, you're going to go up there despite where they're practicing at. You absolutely are. Kind of big boys type of thing.
I just don't get it. All right, let's take a break. Twitter trending topics to wrap it up on the Rob Brown Show. My name is Rob Brown. He is the great one, Lonzo. We're back after this on ESPN Upstate.
You see.
All Our friends at QC Kinetics want you to be able to live your life without pain and without the fear of pain, without it impacting your life, without you having to avoid doing the things that you want to do, that you love to do, because you're afraid of what your joints are going to feel like the next day. Those ankles, those knees, that lower back, those hips, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrist. I mean, you're going to get joint pain somewhere. And the reality is, no matter what you do, we are designed to be mobile, agile. And when you start losing that connective tissue in your joints and it starts to hurt, you lose the ability to do that. And considering outside of sitting on the couch watching football, pretty much everything you want to do, you have to be able to, move. Don't you want to be able to do that without pain? And don't you want to be able to experience that life without having to get surgery, without having to get sliced and diced? Of course you do. That's why you need to reach out to my friends at QC Kinetics. Go to their website at qckinetics.com. QC Kinetics offers non-surgical regenerative therapies that help restore the connective tissue in your joints, helps to retrain your body how to heal that connective tissue so that you can get back to living your life without pain and without the fear of pain. No surgery, no drugs, no steroids, no hassle. Call them right now at 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show and get that first consultation for free with our friends at QC Kinetics. See, that was me slowing down so you could finish writing.
Yeah, I saw that, but I would have got it. That was me writing that down so I could make sure I remember, which I see you do a lot.
Yeah.
Keep their resurgence on track against Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Join us to find out on Thursday Night Football. Tonight at 8, the NFL plays here on ESPN Upstate. This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters and a game in a time.
Apparently the wrong weather played earlier. Had me take the weather out. I only took it out for this show because I want to go and see if it's been fixed. And the bad part is the wrong weather played and we didn't hear it. But I might not have been in the room or something.
Marvel welcomes Harry Styles to the MCU.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. But I think it has something to do with the Eternals, possibly. I could be wrong. What was the boy band he was in?
One Direction?
I want to say it was One Direction. Was that mentioned in our boy band
It was
discussion?
not NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, or the Jonas Brothers.
It was
That's
all
I can tell you.
old school stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's a band, a group that Simon Cowell put together.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones
I could ask my daughter, but I don't care that much.
For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away.
No, she does have some Harry Styles vinyl.
Offering supplies and solutions for every industry with 24/7 support and experienced staff.
I keep seeing gingerbread houses. Been thinking about building one this year.
I love a gingerbread house.
I haven't made one since the kids were
I
little.
love a gingerbread house.
I'm going to take over the village building this year and build the Christmas village, which seems to be an expensive type thing depending on what you get. So even though my children don't live with me anymore, you think it's out of bounds to ask them to go get the Christmas tree out of the shed?
No. One of my
Just the looks on their faces as they go out there to get the stuff because they don't know what sort of creature might be out there. It's just such great pleasure. It really is.
One of my, I don't know why, like as an adult, it's my favorite memory. It killed me as a kid, but I had a conversation with my dad when I was probably 12, 13 years old because it was my chore was to cut the grass. My brother was allergic to grass.
I hate when that happens.
He could play baseball and soccer just fine.
Oh,
but
yeah.
on Saturdays, he was allergic to grass. So anyway, I'm cutting the grass one day, and I was like, "Did you just have me to do chores?" And he goes, "Yeah."
Yeah. It's a hard adjustment for me right now. All right, time for Twitter trending topics. We got time for just a couple really quick. Obviously, we only have time for a couple. Anyway, Ghostbusters is trending.
Ghostbusters drops tonight.
Tonight.
Ghostbusters. Good Lord, what's the name of the movie? I forgot. What's Ghostbusters Homecoming? Ghostbusters Far From Home. That's it.
No, it's not. That's Spider-Man.
Whatever.
I bet.
You're going to see it because Paul Rudd's in it, I believe is the name of the movie.
Yeah, that's why.
Ghostbusters drops tonight. And so I'm out tomorrow doing some family stuff. Diddy's going to be in, and Diddy's going to see it tonight. I have not seen anybody jacked up for a movie like Diddy.
You told me about that, or I would have invited you. Now, see, I listen in the office. Diddy. All right.
I mean, if you're the dude that has a Ghostbusters jumpsuit,
I'm pretty sure.
Tomorrow on the air, you're never hosting again. All right? That's my rec. All right, that's it for us. I am out tomorrow. Diddy will be in for me with Lonzo. I will be back next Monday. Lonzo, this is the last time you heard the dynamic duo for like a week and a half. Hey, you'll be okay.
I hope you miss me.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face for Lonzo. My name's Rob. We'll be back tomorrow to try harder. No, we won't. I'll be back next Monday to try harder on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Later, brother.
There's just so much confusion going on.